Panthers, head coached by Paul Maurice, Alexander Barkov, Vlad Tarasenko, Sam Reinhart, Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Anton Lundell, Carter Verhaeghe, Matthew Tkachuk, Nico Mikkola, Brandon Montour, Sam Bennett, Ito Listerine, Evan Rodriguez, Kevin Stenlin, Ryan Lundberg, Nick Cousins, OEL, and Dmitry Kulikov will be the back-end defense with Sergei Bobrovsky. And for the New York Rangers, head coach by Peter Laviolette, sounds like this: Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, Jack Roslovic, Ryan Lindgren, Adam Fox, Vinny Trocheck, Artemi Panarin, Alexei Lafreniere, Andre Miller, and Jacob Trouba, Alex Wimberg, Filipino, Capo Caco, Barclay Goodrow, Will Cooley, Jimmy Vesey. It'll be Eric Gustafsson, Braden Schneider with Igor Shesterkin in the back end. I think this is going to be the best series that is left in the conference finals, and this may go 7. I got a lot of notes prepared, but I want to get Alec Nava's thoughts in here. I am excited for this one, my friend.
And so am I, John. This is perhaps 7 games of absolute theater. The Rangers, they've been here 3 times before in the conference final in the last 2 decades. The Panthers, 2 times overall before at this point. They made it last year at the conference finals. It's always tough making it to the Stanley Cup final. What's even tougher is to make it back there for a second straight year. The Panthers, they're a physical team. So are the Rangers, who can match said physicality. For all the good goaltending Sergei Bobrovsky provides for the Panthers, Igor Shesterkin has been otherworldly on about. And both teams, they can match each other offensively. Defensively, that's where the Panthers have the edge. But what we know of this, and what I can assure you guys here, before we get the anthems underway, what we can assure you that these are the 2 best teams remaining in the Eastern Conference. Easier said than done, saying that the winner of this Eastern Conference final would win the Stanley Cup, because you have to play the games.
Yeah, you do. And you do have Dallas on the other end. You got Edmonton, and Edmonton's had the right to be there as well. So I wanted to go ahead and just lead into this. So goals for, this is going to start with Florida and then go to New York. 3.55 versus 3.5, 2.45 versus 2.6. Power play 22% for Florida, 31% for the Rangers, but the penalty kill is where both of these teams shine. 86% for Florida, 89% for the Rangers. Hits per 60, as Alec noted, we mentioned this a few times with the Florida Panthers. 47 hits per 60 minutes versus 30 for the Rangers. The blocks, that favors the New York Rangers, 20 to about 15. When both teams score first, 5-1, 4-1 respectively. And when both teams trail first, Florida's 3-2, New York is 4-1. So it doesn't matter whether these teams lead, whether these teams trail, both of these teams can come back. And as you mentioned, Sergei Bobrovsky, 8-3, 237 goals against, 902. Igor Shesterkin, 8-2, 240, 923 save percentage. It's elite goaltending, it's elite defense, it's elite offense as well. This one is going to be good.
For sure it is. We speak of the comebacks. Both teams know how to play from in front and from behind. So no matter who's in front or who's behind, it's not surprising if the one that's trailing would score the next goal. And if it ever goes to extra time around, we wouldn't be surprised if one team completes a comeback or holds the other one off. They're that good.
Yeah, they are. And again, we'll talk about some of this as we're getting in MSG. We're going to go through some of the anthems and all that too on the ESPN. Maybe one more break and then we'll jump into puck drop. But we have the New York Rangers, again, 4-0 against Washington, 4-2 against Carolina. Who's hot coming into this series? Well, Mika Zibanejad, 14 points, 3 goals, 11 assists, 14 plus 2. Vinny Trocheck, we talked about him at length at times, Alec, from multiple teams. 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. Artemi Panarin, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points, minus 2. Alexei Lafreniere has benefited from Vinny Trocheck being the centerman on that second line. 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points, plus 1. The only thing I want to circle back on, and again, I put cold, but in parentheses, though, for Adam Fox. He doesn't have a goal yet, but I do expect him to get on the sheet on that side. He does have 4 assists and a plus 1, and we will be watching today Filipino play his second game of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, we can expect Adam Fox may be due for one. The only defenseman who has scored a goal for the Rangers by this point, Andre Miller and Jacob Trouba. Fox's 4 assists, you would expect that he would be due for a goal anytime in this Eastern Conference final. Then you got Vinny Trocheck at the front end. If we're looking at Conn Smythe favorites from these 2 teams, we would expect Igor Shesterkin to be up there, which is no surprise for the Rangers. For the Panthers, you can flip a coin between Sasha Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk, you would not be wrong with either one of them. I lean Barkov on the matter as of right now.
Absolutely, I'm with you there. For Florida, heading into this series, they took out Tampa in 5 games, 4-1 and then 4-2 against Boston. Again, we covered a lot of that stuff against the Bees in the end. And for Matthew Tkachuk, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points plus 2. Alex Barkov, 5, 8, 13 plus 4. Carter Verhaeghe had 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points plus 2. Lindell, 2, 7, and 9 plus 3. Sam Reinhart, 5, 4, 9 plus 3 as well. Brandon Montour, pretty good, 3, 5, and 8 plus 4. Gustav Forsling, he's been excellent, 2, 5, and 7 plus 8. The only cold I could find for Florida, and again, this is kind of splitting straws, but Dmitry Kulikov in his 11 games of work, he does not have any points, and his plus-minus is even.
And I feel he's more of a defensive presence for Florida. Just because he doesn't have any points doesn't mean that he's doing nothing for the team. He's more of a defensive stay-at-home type of guy. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is compliment. He's more of the offensive type. At a reasonable price in which Ekman-Larsson was brought in as well. And with Kulikov also brought in at a reasonable price for what it's worth. For a pairing shutdown defenseman doing his job at his own end.
So we've gone through some of the pregame stuff. I gave you some of the stats on both sides. Alec and I had mentioned it. We think that it's going to be a 7-game series. But let's go ahead. I know it's game 1. Let's make our predictions. I am leaning Shesterkin in net. But I will take the Panthers because I want to see them get back to the Stanley Cup Finals and be healthier than they were last year against the Golden Knights. Honestly, I couldn't tell you a weakness between these two teams. I'm only going with my heart here. I'll say Florida in 7.
You know, playing on the road doesn't really bother the Panthers that much. If you look at the last 2 series, the Panthers only lost once on the road, that being Game 4 against Tampa Bay. They were undefeated at TD Garden, continuing their winning streak dating back to Game 2 against the Bruins last year at TD Garden in the playoffs. But overall, playing on the road doesn't seem to bother them too much because of the depth scoring that they have, the physical presence they have, and the defense that they have. Sergei Bobrovsky, despite his save percentage of .902, he's been doing good. The Rangers, however, they've started 7-0, and the fans are starting to get the belief that it may feel like a 1994 type of year if their momentum keeps up. Saying so may suggest a 7-game series and an absolute thriller between them and the Panthers because that's how 1994 went when they faced the New Jersey Devils. Either way, home ice advantage can also play to the Rangers' favor, which has me struggling to pick who I think is going to win this game. I think it's a coin flip. And say that I'm going to get a coin flip right now. Heads meaning Rangers, tails meaning Panthers.
You're going to do this live on the air? We got 4 minutes till puck drop.
All right, yeah, I'm going to do it. Let's flip a coin. It is tails, Panthers.
All right, so again, from what I told you and what Alec just laid out there, we're really splitting hairs, trying to find an advantage, trying to find any sort of idiosyncrasy to talk about to maybe give you a favorite. We're telling you, honestly, it's that close. This might be one of those it's that close type of series that we'll have, maybe that'll span over the last 20, 25 years, Alec, from what you just alluded to. That's why I'm really excited for this one. Honestly, I'd be bitterly disappointed if this one doesn't go 6.
Yeah, I mean, anything less than 6 would be considered an epic collapse by the losing team, plus a bitter disappointment in the Eastern Conference Final. We can go on with this again and again, knowing that these two can match up with each other amazingly well. In more ways, more than one. I mean, when you look at the top lines, you got a superstar winger / center, a high-end centerman, and then a forward who can contribute in bunches on the goal departments. That's Sasha Barkov and Artemi Panarin. And you have Sam Reinhart, Vinny Trocheck on the comparables. Then Alexei Lafreniere, Vladimir Tarasenko on the other part. Funnily enough, you have a 10, a 16, and a 13 on those 2 first lines. How strange is that?
That is very strange as far as the number of disparities. You don't normally see that. The only thing, and again, this is splitting hairs, and I'm not trying to say one side or the other, Jack Roslovic is on the first line right now with Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider. Is that something that the Florida Panthers can maybe key in on when they have Sam Reinhart, Vlad Tarasenko, and Barkov?
I feel the Barkov line could be lined up more with the Trocheck line, but they could also line up with the Kreider line. They match up nicely against both of them. Whether it be between the Barkov line or the Kachuk line going up against the Kreider line, I feel it's up for Paul Maurice to decide, but something that could be keyed in. What I also know is that Blake Wheeler is now practicing in a non-contact jersey. He was there to support his Ranger teammates in Game 3 against the Hurricanes, crashing the boards and hyping his guys up. The ultimate hype man for his team. Now that he's back on a non-contact jersey, I feel the Rangers are going to monitor his status before making a decision on him down for the line. Where does he slot in if he ever returns to the lineup?
I would have to think on first guess. I could safely throw him into a third or fourth line role. I mean, you could put the second line up there, but I would make the argument, and I think so would you. Alexei Lafreniere is playing the best hockey of his career. I'm not changing that second line of Trocheck, Panarin, and Laugh.
No, absolutely not. Lafreniere, he's been breaking out into a beast this postseason. Just keep this line together between Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere. That's formed some outstanding chemistry this season. There was a reason why I was in discussion with Owen yesterday on the hockey show that we did, that I compared Lafreniere's career trajectory to Daniel Sedin. I think it's still reasonable for that to say that.
So, yeah, because Lafreniere is still incredibly young. You remember the COVID lottery ball draft? That's where the Rangers end up getting him there. And the consensus number one pick, sometimes it just takes a couple seasons. I mean, correct, he's only in his third year here, and he's really blossoming right now for the Blue Shirts. And I think they have no regrets taking in number one.
I mean, third full 82-game season year for Lafreniere, but the Rangers are in good hands with him. You put him on the top line, he's going to have his confidence grow. That's what you do with your top picks. Just like what Yuri Slafkovsky and the Montreal Canadiens just this season.
30th straight playoff start for Sergei Bobrovsky. Again, that's my own fault for thinking it wasn't that many. My goodness. 3 goals against or fewer in 17 straight home playoff games for Shesterkin on the other side. Again, the Rangers haven't had a game in which they've given up more than 4 goals. So that just goes to tell you here that maybe the Panthers could jump on the Rangers quickly, but even if they do, that number is going to be limited. I am very excited for this one. I got Alec Nava here with me. We'll definitely trade off. If anyone else jumps in, if Cooper does jump in, he will be welcome in here as well. We are underway at MSG. This is one of the best places to watch a hockey game. I would like to go there. As this is sent back around the end board, Sergei Bobrovsky will stop it for Aaron Ekblad. Left to right go the Florida Panthers in the road whites. Here's a pass from Reinhart. A good body check there for the Blue Shirts to dispossess the puck. Center around now. Barkov will take a look. This will be an easy read off of Shesterkin. And a quick shot from the point is saved by Igor.
You know, it's bonkers that when you think about the entire cost of how it is to go to Panthers games and compare it to game 1 of this game, the cheapest tickets in the $400 mark. For the Panthers games, it feels like for the entire season, or if I'm misreading, if I'm not reading this correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong. It's less than the cheapest ticket here in this game 1.
No, you are absolutely correct. It's going to be up a little bit more because you're playing at MSG. You have one of those buildings like that. Again, one of the only ones not sold to a corporate name. This is the Mecca. You've had boxing matches. You've had Knicks games. You've had 55, Michael Jordan, double nickel, everything. All the history. That's what you're paying for. As it's 18:55 left to go in this first. It's scoreless. This is game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. This one I'm very excited for. Slap shot in around the end boards. It's recollected by Niko Mikula. Pinball puck. Carter Verhaeghe trying to put it off the backside of Shesterkin. But he's there. As this one's flipped. The ESPN showed Blake Wheeler on the line side, and that was projected. I'm not sure if we're going to see him in this game or not, but I think that was a mistake, as this is put around the end boards. Breadman tries to pick it up, but it doesn't get there. Sam Bennett fires it toward the net. Shesterkin made a unorthodox save, as this is Mika Zibanejad. Press the other way. 3-on-3, long shot. This goes in behind the cage of Bob, already doing flips, as this is sent out in front for Bennett. A little bit of grit and sandpaper. Again, we mentioned many times he loves the playoff lights, and this is where he shines, as this is Schneider, but it gets dispossessed. And across the left side red line, blue shirts had it, and Florida Panthers intercept. Now 3-on-2 developing the other way. Good save for Shesterkin. There's a little bit of a flyby. Now Laugh has got the puck. Kulikov able to get the interception and sent in for Cousins. Wrapped in around the end boards now. We'll take a look in toward the right side dot. This will go all the way back. The left side red line, where Florida will intercept and fire it in. Igor Shesterkin, slow it down with the goal stick. Good forechecking here for the Florida Panthers. They will keep it in, as this is flipped back to the defense here for Keandre. So Keandre Miller will send it over to his longtime defensive partner, Jacob Trouba. They work well together on that second line. As this one sent in, Sergei Bobrovsky dropped his goal stick, and now it's an opportunity for Hito. We'll send this back for Lindgren. This will pinball off of one of the Florida Panthers. Maybe some shakiness in behind the net right now, but I can understand some nerves in this type of game. These are elite forwards and defense all over the place. Wrapper on attempt. This one goes wide. Barclay Goudreau tries to get a piece of it now. Send this back in around the end boards. There'll be an opportunity for Capo Caco, who'll watch if they take a hit from Aaron Ekblad. It's still loose in behind the left side boards. There's a spin now as they're profiling Filipino. This is intercepted by the blue shirts nicely. Ryan Lindgren will find the entry. He'll just catapult it in deep. It eludes the stick of Aaron Ekblad, but he'll get it back from his forwards and start again. The forechecking has been good on both of these teams right now. Keandre Miller, we'll see if he takes a shot. He elects for a pass. And now Lindell off the 1-on-2. He's got time. He'll take a wrist shot. This one will go wide across the right side glass. And a hit. And near the left side red line, here's a pass from Mika Zibanejad. Here's a drop and a wrister. This one will go wide for Chris Kreider. And Zibanejad, he gets a reverse hit, falls down trying to make the play as it's sent back around the end boards for Florida. They'll try to take this left to right in the road whites with the red striping and blue pants. Put this in around the end boards for Igor. It's intercepted again by Florida a couple times already here early in the first, as this is picked up by the blue shirts. Outstretched pass, we'll get it out. Nice play, one-handed. It's an opportunity for Trocheck. And now we get a whistle, 15:32, and the goalie mask is dislodged for Bob.
Guess that shot went off of Bobrovsky's mask. Trocheck and Bobrovsky, former teammates down in Florida for one season. Well, just before Trocheck got traded to Carolina, but Shesterkin was under siege for several long periods. Sam Bennett, long shot. He saw that. And then some other good looks, such as Nick Cousins on the drop pass from Eetu Luostarinen. That bounced off Shesterkin. He's locked in early. Trocheck right off the mask of Bobrovsky, and it falls off. So that's where the stoppage went. And play automatically stops whenever a goalie mask falls off because that's a safety precaution.
Yes, it is. Hit him right in the mask, almost right in the side of the throat protector, right where the Panther is in between that mask, and now Vinny Trocheck against Evan Rodriguez. Now, Trocheck, we talk about him playing across all lines, and oh, by the way, is one of the best centermen in the league as well, but he can't win this one against Rodriguez. And an outlet pass as Florida has trouble with it in their own end. Breadman gets the interception. Here's a wrister. It's Trocheck being profiled. Does this one turn over by Montour? And Lafreniere tried to get a few whacks at it, but a stick in the lane for the Panthers will send that away. Now an opportunity for Schneider as he'll send this one down deep, and the forwards for Peter Laviolette's squad will take a change. This is a really good start to this game right now. 5 minutes have expired in the first. John Utter with you alongside Alec Navas as Game 1 as the Eastern Conference Finals get underway. Tomorrow will be the Western side between Edmonton and Dallas. Dallas will be able to start at home ice at American Airlines. Mavericks are playing today as this one sent in around the inboards. Picked up now for Kulikov off the spin, able to stay on his feet. It's still very loose, and Kevin Stenlund on that fourth line able to see this one go down, but it's an icing against Florida.
You know that Trocheck has the ability to play all four lines. He's a top 6 forward, and he plays like it as well. And for his team to advance to the conference final as the President's Trophy winner, the Rangers doing that for the second time in the last decade. A feat that we have not seen in quite a long while. It's the first time we've seen this in the salary cap era, but Trocheck, he's looking to get his guys over the top.
He is one of those guys that has been an excellent addition since coming over from Carolina. I think he's fit like a glove. Carolina certainly misses him, as this one is sent back down. Picked up now for the defense. And Trouba, captaincy, sent it across for Keandre Miller and get it right back. Jacob will make the outstretched pass. This was across the red. So this will be sent in. Aaron Ekblad trying to make a play, falling down. Dispossessed by the Blue Shirts. Here's a slapper, and it doesn't hit Bobrovsky, but Mika Zibanejad. Just pound this thing around the left side red line. It's Keandre. Here's a pinball through the traffic, but it's right to Eetu Mustarainen. Opportunity now for Ekblad. He'll get the outstretched pass. Good flip out of the air for Reinhard. They'll send it toward the net. That was some hand-eye coordination. That was a nice play. As Forsling started again. One of the very best defensemen that we have in the league. And yes, I say that. Even amongst Adam Fox in this game, the contemporaries, I think Gustav Forsling would be very proud. This one bounces off a Ranger's body and into the crowd.
So that was some nice fancy moves by Reinhardt. Always nice when you see someone flip it to themselves out the air. That's some good hand-eye. Sidney Crosby would be proud.
Yes, he would. Again, the skill is going to be on full display for these two teams. I'm not even going to call this first 7 minutes or so a chess match. I think these two teams are just really good right now. They're trying to find space, and I think both teams early are kind of closing down the space for both offenses.
Yeah, they're wearing each other down. I'd you say it describes it perfectly. A chess match between the two teams who know each other's play styles, which basically are mirror images of one another.
So we'll see what happens as this series goes forward. I know we'll talk a little bit about the other in the first intermission. I don't want to be a downer when it comes to the Western Conference Finals because I will be covering some of those games alongside you, Alec. But for me, I know it's been said across other outlets and other experts, I'm not one. They think it's going to be at least a 6-game series. It's going to be very competitive. I have a hard time believing that myself.
You know, I also have a hard time believing there will be 6 games on that Western Conference Final. I may say 5, unless Edmonton pushes it to a 6th game, which they certainly can. But I would be surprised if the Oilers win that series and make it to the Stanley Cup Final, given that they're reliant on top-heavy talent.
The one thing I saw, and I agree with you completely, because we talked about the defensive scoring. That's really helped Edmonton, the way that they kind of shut down Vancouver in that series, which has really helped them. But I noticed when I was looking at NHL Tonight just about a half hour ago that Connor McDavid's ice time started from like 29 minutes in Game 2, went all the way down to 20 minutes and 50 seconds in Game 7. I'm sure everybody's battling ailments this time of year, but I also think they're trying to keep Draisaitl and McDavid's minutes down and try to push a little bit more from the bottom 6 because, as you said, you can't ride that top 6 the whole way.
No, you have to rely on your other guys, such as we mentioned about Matthias Janmark, who had the Game 7 game-winning block to seal the series for the Oilers when the Canucks were pushing it in the third period. That's when you mention your others, your depth guys. You have to rely on them, and the Oilers, they're doing that on defensive possessions. They need to have the others also score on offensive possessions. Such was the case with guys like Dylan Holloway, Evander Kane, even Sam Carrick and Derek Ryan. They're getting some looks, and we haven't even seen Adam Henrique return yet.
No. So again, hopefully the Oilers are trying to think that they have some more firepower. And also, as you mentioned too, and the reason why we're talking about it because there's another break here, and the sense of Corey Perry, he didn't really play that much in the lineup, but you got to figure he's going to play tomorrow against the Dallas Stars. You think he knows them well, and the Stars, that kind of matches up more to Corey Perry's game, I believe.
Yeah, I would believe so. He's more of a physical type of player, and that matchup favors him.
Sent back around the end boards again. Igor Shesterkin's pass will be intercepted by Lundell. as this is put in around the end boards and chipped. Kachuk trying to get a hit as this will go the other way. Now Ryan Lindgren was on the push. He was trying to help Filipino and Capocaco. It's just good to see him back out there again. His second playoff game of this season. There's a quick slapper. They try to go very quickly on Bobrovsky, who was not really in the goal crease. This will go D to D in the high slot. Here's a slapper near the right dot. Matriculates around the end boards. Still scoreless here with 12:35 thereabouts left to go in the first. Find the entry now. Schneider, a long glove save for Bobrovsky, gets the stoppage at 12:35.
I felt like there were several clear attempts by the Panthers that were nicely held in by the Rangers for sustained zone time. They're getting the puck at it quickly, chopping at it, and stealing away what were defensive possessions for Florida and trying to clear this one out. That's a long shot from Braden Schneider, though. In trying that one, testing Bobrovsky, normally you want to have someone who would be right at the net front to deflect that one in. This is where Trocheck would come in. This is where Kreider would come in.
We'll see if he does right now, Alec, because he's going to go ahead and take the draw against Reinhardt, and Reinhardt's been able to hold the zone here against Trocheck. He's lost the last couple. Blue shirts now will pick this one up here for Laff as he sends it around the end boards. Lafreniere passes too hard, and this will go back into the left side red line. Keandre will settle it down. He'll make an outstretch from about 80. Lafreniere now left side wing, and his sauce pass doesn't find anybody except the Panthers. There's a chip and chase. Shesterkin will casually brush this left side boards. It's loose, but now Panarin off the back skate, and the defense will come support. Shots are 3-2, but honestly, I don't feel the same malaise that I'd felt at times in between Vancouver and Edmonton. And I promise you, it's not because it's different teams. I just feel like I'm waiting for this to open up. I'm still a little bit eagerly excited as this is sent the other way. I think that's going to stay this way through as long as this series goes. These two teams are going to keep my attention. Gigantic hit back in the defensive zone of the Rangers, took out one of them, and now picked up here for the Panthers. Off the back skate for Bennett. Sent back down for Shesterkin. See if he elects to play this one. He does not. Defense will go back and pick it up, and now a good reverse hit near the bench again as the bodies are starting to fly. Ryan Lindgren will settle it up now as the forwards take a change for Peter Laviolette's squad. They're still scoreless. Shots are 3-2 Panthers. Filipino. He tried to skate through 4 Panthers, but he got stick lifted. This one gets sent back down across the left side blue line. Good interception here for Florida. One more time. Ryan Lomberg. He gets dispossessed of the puck. Capocaco trying to find it in behind the net. Florida will keep this alive as this goes toward the right post of Shesterkin's cage. And now Lomberg finishes his hit. Kevin Stenlund. This is good work from the bottom 6 line. Stenlund gets his D-to-D. This goes live and off the end boards. A big rebound. And Shesterkin makes a good save. That might have even been blocked as well. As this goes right for Stenlund. Stenlund now off the turn. He can't be dispossessed of the puck right now. What worked from this line? As this is pinballed. Now an opportunity. Gustafsson, he throws a blind pass to Chucky. As this works now for Kachuk. He tries to matriculate it off the end boards. Bounced off his skate. Kachuk falls down. And now the blue shirts finally get it out. But that 4th line was doing damage. Now off a bad change for Hagee. This one goes wide. Lundell was trying to help as well. New York almost got burned. Now Panarin the other way. It's opening up now. Trocheck, Lafreniere, saved by Bobrovsky. And now Gustav Forsling will send it down the ice. It's a long flip. And now Florida with Ekblad will settle it back down. Alec, the action's starting to percolate here.
Yep. It's boiling up. We're getting a penalty here against the Rangers. Most likely Tarasenko, the ex-Ranger, out in front. But I don't know what those last few minutes were for the Rangers. It felt like they were making too many mental mistakes. We get a hooking penalty on Trouba as he's going to sit for 2 minutes. But I felt like they made so many mistakes on that last shift. I mean, just too much to count. You get a giveaway at your offensive zone, a missed pass by Lafreniere. You give up a breakout on a bad change to Carter Verhaeghe, and now this happens. What a brutal last few minutes for the Rangers.
Yeah, the only thing that's good for the Rangers there on that spot, they haven't got scored on. But again, I might speak too soon because now a power play has been drawn. But you've been right. There was a couple missed passes and missed plays that turn into fast action the other way for the Panthers, and you can only do that so many times before it starts to burn you. Igor Shesterkin 4 out of 4, Sergei Bobrovsky 3 out of 3, and again we get our first power play. 9:34 into this game. I'll pull this up on the penalty side of the box score. Jacob Trouba, as you said, hook against Barkov at 10:26. So we'll wait and see what happens. We couldn't get our first goal of the game. I know the Panthers' numbers have not been as high as they would like, but their play style when they get the puck on the power play is working behind the net, good quick passes, try to get Igor Shesterkin to move or whoever goalie that they're playing against. And I feel like their numbers could bump up a little bit.
I mean, we saw that in the one game that we covered between the Panthers and the Bruins. So they had 4 power play goals in that game. That's when they do when they're at their best, reminiscent to what they were when they were playing an East-West style under Andrew Brunette. Now it's a North-South style under Paul Maurice. And the Panthers, they've all bought in to Maurice's style of coaching.
Yeah, again, as we talked about, and I mentioned this all the time when he mentioned Paul Maurice, but I think no coach embodies his team more than the Florida Panthers and Paul Maurice. I think it was a perfect move. And honestly, at the time, I'll admit this, for Andrew Brunette, when you win the President's Trophy and then you end up getting canned, I'm like, this is a curious decision. And then all of a sudden, by the way, the Florida Panthers able to sneak in, and then once they do, they make it all the way to the Cup final, and then they're supposed to be injured as much as they were from the first round against the Bruins last year, and then they come out and they get the top seed in the Atlantic.
And that's good for them, knowing that hockey is back in South Florida. That's Sam Reinhart, 27 power play goals in the regular season, just 1 in the playoffs.
This is toward the right side dot, as we mentioned, working in behind the net. Reinhart, Tkachuk. Tkachuk will love to press as a power forward in Barkov's pass. I could see what he was trying to do there, but it was too far for Montour. Could have had that screen set up off of a long shot. That might have been the first goal of the game if it would have connected. Reinhart trying to find the entry. He'll just dump it in. Left side boards now is Sasha Barkov. Again, he won the Selke for a second time. Montour will hold. Way in the high slot for Verhaeghe near the right dot. Back to Brandon Montour. Carter Verhaeghe. Here's a chance for Tkachuk. This one gets tipped wide. Tkachuk will retrieve. Now Carter goes back to Brandon. Brandon Montour still patient. He fires it through the seam, and Lindgren able to get this with the stick and make an easy clear. 1 minute left to go in the first power play of the game. This is for Florida right now. Trocheck will get a much-needed rest. Again, Florida on the power play on the road is 35%. Bennett with a drop. Good stick in the lane for Mika Zibanejad. As Chuck will get this one back for Bennett. Tarasenko. Now for Oea. This will find the entry off the sauce, left side against the wall. There'll be an opportunity for Braden Schneider slowly across the glass. Tkachuk intercepts it, but it's right to Chris Kreider. No problem for him. They'll throw this one back down. 4 power play goals allowed, 4 short-handed goals for the Rangers, so they have a tendency to get burned even when they're on their own power play. We'll see what happens when they get one. Shesterkin will stop it. Evan Rodriguez now for Sam Bennett. Back to the former Pittsburgh Penguin, as this one will go all the way down again and be cleared by the Rangers. They made this one look a little bit easier. As OEL will start it. Florida's essentially going to run out of time by the time they gain this red line. This one sent in. Aaron Ekblad will try to find it. This one goes high. This bounced up in the air, bounced off some bodies. And we are going to get an icing against the Rangers. They cleared it after the penalty expired.
I get what they're trying to do once the penalty expired and generating a breakout pass. Just feel like the passing lane wasn't there on time. I mean, you want to wait until you develop the passing lane and your guy is up front and right there on the spot. Otherwise, it's a perfect penalty kill for the Rangers on their first penalty kill of this game. They did it for Trouba, and they're back to 5-on-5 as they shut down the Panthers, forcing them mostly onto the outside.
Yes, they did. Kevin Stanley could win that draw. Nick Cousins got hit pretty good. He is slow to get to the bench right now. He took a big hit near the right side boards as we're watching him. I was watching that in real time. He looks to be in some distress. So we'll see what's going to happen on that bottom side. Again, Nick Cousins is one of those ones that most teams want to eye in on because he loves to be a disturber. And I say that in a kind way, as this is picked up off the backhand. Opportunity to be sent down for Gustafson. This will be bounced in between a couple of skate blades. Aaron Ekblad, one-time Florida Panther. This will be Carter Verhaeghe trying to find the entry. It's hard to believe at one time that the Tampa Bay Lightning had this man. Oh, what a hit!
Oh!
Kachuk lays the one! And now reverse the other way. Welcome to Matthew Kachuk. That didn't take long. As this goes now to the right side for a Trocheck. Send back around off a long outstretched pass. This is a backhand. This is a horrible giveaway. One-timer. This will get blocked out in the middle of the circles. And now I'm starting to really buy into what Alec had mentioned. Some of these turnovers here for New York are not very good. Lafreniere, an unbelievable play to stay with it. He actually got a shot on Bob. We get a stoppage.
Between that hit and that hand-eye for Alexei Lafreniere, we're getting a lot. Yeah, Jacob Trouba, he struck up Nick Cousins up high towards the facial area. He went down, got into some discomfort, and that big punishing hit on Matthew Kachuk right on Vinny Trocheck. That was vicious, that was violent, and it looked like a car crash in the middle of the road.
Trocheck tried to brace himself a little bit as he could, but Kachuk got some nice clean hit. And honestly, for Jacob Trouba, Alec, he's lucky he didn't go right back to the sin bin.
Yeah, he's lucky there. Dodged a bullet. I mean, you can get away with it for now. I don't know if the officials are going to be as lenient next time around. Giveaways, 5 for the Rangers. We mentioned about the turnovers. As we point out to what was talked about earlier, some of these were careless turnovers.
Spun back around the end boards for New York. They can't keep it in now with Keandre Miller. And every time you're bringing that up now, I keep seeing it repeated more and more. And I'm glad that you punched the button because this is going to start to, I think, take shape for the Panthers for them to score the first goal of the game if it continues. That's just me thinking out loud. We're still waiting for first blood, and it could be a while before we see one. But this has been a very entertaining first period as this is sent down the left side red line. Blue shirts will set it up 25 shots or fewer in 7 of 10 games. That does not seem very Rangers-like, but when they get chances in the power play, that is when they can be absolutely deadly. They don't have one yet. A2 Lusterainen on the back skate. They try to get her on a couple hits. He will, as this will be sent back the other way for Sam Bennett. Working behind the cage, a Bobrovsky touch pass, lost in between the legs. And now another opportunity, Mika Zibanejad will clean it up. He's going to stay out there. I thought he might take a change. This will be Mika after near the player's bench. As this is a good touch pass. It's a 1-on-2. Opportunity there for Lusterinen. This will be a right pad save for Shesterkin. As this goes left side red line. Kevin Stanley and Evan Rodriguez. This is line number 3 out there right now for Paul Maurice's squad. Bounced in between some skate blades. As this is still kept on the left side red line. Good opportunity. This slap shot goes high toward the top right bar. Sent back around the end boards here and picked up by Lindgren. He'll flip this one down. Picked up by the Panthers defense as they'll settle it back down and across the red line. I didn't know if they actually gained it, but they gave it to him nonetheless. Good reverse hit there for the Panthers. It's a 2-on-3. Here's the drop cap. Okako tried to make a toe drag between his legs. And this will be sent back down for Braden Schneider. Schneider now will settle it down for Gustafson. And Gustafson's pass from 50. This will be iced. This goes out of a sticking out of play. 4:08 left to go in this first.
It's better to be simple rather than too fancy. I feel Kako, he tried to be too fancy when getting into the zone on the drop pass. Sometimes it can bite you in the playoffs. Better to be keeping it simple. Take it one step at a time with your plays.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, Alec, again, if you can, as we referenced, you might take those hits like you did from Trocheck and Matthew Kachuk. So you don't want to leave yourself punished, and you also don't want to have a goal in the back of your net if you end up making a mistake. And again, as you talked about it, you already got 5 giveaways here for the Blue Shirts in comparison to 1 for the Panthers. And Trouba, as I mentioned, was lucky he didn't get a second penalty against him. Shesterkin 7 out of 7, Bobrovsky 4 out of 4. Is there any team right now, I'm just throwing it out there, Alec, but is there any team out there right now that maybe you see has the advantage here?
Feel so far is Florida as they're playing their brand of hockey right on the Rangers. The offensive complementing with the physicality aspect of it. I feel the Panthers in this first period to this point, they have the advantage on the Rangers.
I can buy that. The Panthers 26-11-4 during the regular season on the road. Blue Shirts were 30-11, no overtime games to speak of at MSG as far as the result line. So 4:08 left to go in the first as we're looking at the commercial breaks in between all of the Stanley Cup champions. And again, the Stanley Cup final is going to probably happen around June 8th, June 7th, June 8th, something like that, in the sense of we're only a couple weeks away from this, Alec, and this is a big-time matchup. Whoever wins this one will likely play the Dallas Stars. Again, I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself because the other series hasn't even begun yet. But that is the overwhelming feeling, and I guess for Dallas, I just want to say this. At least they'll finally catch a break in the sense of you already beat Vegas and you beat Colorado, but at least the Panthers or Rangers, one of them's going to go home.
At least one of them. I feel, for one part, we wish that this could be a Stanley Cup final matchup, but it's an Eastern Conference final matchup because these are the two best teams remaining in the Eastern Conference. They deserve to be in this spot. The Panthers led by Barkov with 8 points in a second-round series.
That is a ton of points there, a ton of damage. This is another turnover toward the right side of the red line, and ever since, again, it just keeps happening here for the Rangers. Here's a chance. Panarin slows up. Good defense for Aaron Ekblad. I think Panarin thought he had more time than he initially did. Here's a rush now, left to right, off the drop. Tkachuk, he scores!
First goal of the series belonging to Matthew Tkachuk. As was discussed in the Open, we could make a toss-up for who would win Team MVP thus far on the Panthers in this playoff run. The Con's my favorites. Tkachuk is certainly making his case out there. His fifth goal at the playoffs off the turnover on the offensive zone for the Rangers, with Aaron Ekblad setting this up as he poked away at it on Artemi Panarin. There was Carter Verhaeghe, who found the approaching Gustav Forsling. Forsling sees that Tkachuk was open, jumps onto the ice, top of the left circle, fires it past Shesterkin, and that's all she wrote for that goal.
I gotta imagine, Alec, when you get to slow up and you get to aim and shoot and pick your corner, that's gotta feel really good when you're a scoring forward as capable as Matthew Tkachuk is, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. When you're able to pick and choose your lane. And even sweeter, that's by Adam Fox as well. One of the best defensemen in the league.
Yeah.
That forces Shesterkin to play guesswork on this shot. Tkachuk picks the far side. That's the angle he wanted to go on the shot. And all that Shesterkin can practically do is guess where it's going.
Yeah, because again, essentially, as you said, he's almost shooting that in between Adam Fox. Really, Shesterkin, I don't know what he could do there. But we know the Rangers have given up the first goal. We mentioned this in the pregame. I don't think it bothers either one if you give up one. This game is nowhere near done. But the Florida Panthers, I think it's up to their advantage, especially as we talked about. Better of the play in the first period, they should be up by one. As Barkov, now for Reinhart, good reverse hit, came off the puck now. So the goal differential, this is interesting. I did not know this. In the first period, the Panthers are -3, so they don't open well, but they're +16 the rest of the game. So take that for what you will. That's a good stat for ESPN. This is sent back around the end boards. To Lusterainen make his sauce pass. Third line's out there with Sam Bennett. Again, they moved him down to move up Lindell. Bennett finishes his hit. We get another turnover in front of the cage. This one's wristed wide. As this is picked up now near the right side, Kulikov, Lusterainen bouncing puck. And now can the Rangers, can they get a breakaway? One-on-one against Bobrovsky, and it hit the post. This goes back around the end boards now. There was an opportunity there for a puck that bounced between a couple of Panthers, and it hit the crossbar. This one goes back the other way for Lindgren, and we'll settle it down again. So I think that might have been Braden Schneider is the one that rang the bar. This one's sent back down the other way as this is recollected here for the Blue Shirts for a moment. This is a bouncing puck and some good work again for the Panthers to try to just create some ire and make it difficult to go the other way. Good stick as well. Now Adam Fox. He is not on the goal scoring sheet yet in the playoffs. He does have 4 assists batted out of the air, knocked away from Panarin. It's kept in, then a one-timer for the Breadman gets denied by Bobrovsky with the left pad. Sent back around for Lindgren, but Panarin will get pasted. And around the inboards, try to get picked up here for Florida. Left side blue line as it got taken away from Lafreniere. Now Mika, he's on his horse, 1-on-4. Here's a beautiful pass in amongst the inboards, and Bobrovsky's got to turn and look behind him. It's Keandre Miller. Slap shot across the blue line. Zibanejad will just throw right to the funnel of the Panthers. And now Keandre Miller from Jacob Trouba took a slap shot around the red line. Mika will try to find this in between escape lanes. Chris Kreider, Lindell. Here's a beautiful chip. 45 seconds left to go in this first as this is sent back. And now for Nico Mikkola, he gets a rough ride in the left side boards. Roslovic set up the 1T. This is blocked by Florida. They might have a chance here for something. This gets shut wide. Turnaround chance to Sturkin swimming in his goal crease. This one goes wide as well. And now into the players' bench. But Florida really starting to put the screws on the Rangers a little bit.
Yeah, they are. And when Braden Schneider missed that breakaway a goal chance right off the right side the post, Bobrovsky's best friend, the Panthers are starting to get into the Rangers' skin. If what it feels like. The Rangers, they were outshot for the entire Carolina series, still found ways to win that. Against the Panthers, that challenge is going to be even tougher. Though if you speak of 1994, do remember the Rangers lost Game 1 in double overtime. They went on to win the series in 7.
That is something to think about. Again, as we talk about, these two teams are very evenly matched in a lot of ways, but I like what Alec mentioned before that when we talked about. You want to see where the pressure is going to lie. Who takes advantage of this opener? I think it's fundamentally important in this first period because Florida, if they can play their road game against a team like this, it says a lot to me. That was a pretty good first period for Florida Panthers, punctuated by Matthew Tkachuk wrister. 1-0 Panthers after 1.
9-5 are your shot totals as Will Cooley, he elevates one of the Panthers right near the Rangers bench. Just at the end of the first period, I'm wondering if that Panthers player is okay, if he's going to come back later on into this game. I believe they will, but no matter. It is a Panthers 1-0 lead. All kudos to everyone involved. Not just Tkachuk, but also their entire forwards.
I agree. Again, that was a really good first period for the Florida Panthers. You can't say it enough. Again, as you said, in between everybody, I think they all played their role. I think they played a strong unit all the way across the board when they rolled out all 4 lines. They looked pretty confident. They were able to push the Rangers, at least to me, over the last 7-8 minutes of that period. Kind of, I wouldn't say impose their will just yet, but then I also kind of say, I feel like I should say that because I felt like that's what took place a little bit toward the end. Kind of just push the Rangers in their own end. And again, you mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, you said it right. They forced the Rangers into some turnovers that, honestly, they might be fortunate it's only 1-0.
Yeah, the Rangers, they may be in the best case scenario now because this easily could have been a wider gap for the Panthers because of those giveaways. Peter Laviolette's going to emphasize to lessen those egregious turnovers and mental mistakes down for the line. They had 6 of them in this first period, and at one point, right around the halfway mark or just past the halfway mark, they had 5 turnovers.
Yeah, and again, you don't want to have that. I know I'll mention this a little bit, and we'll talk about it as we go along. Again, Dallas and Minnesota, they're underway. They're in the first quarter, 2:24 left in it. Dallas has a 22-21 lead against the Timberwolves. I do want to mention a little bit more in between the Oilers and the Stars, and then I will flip back over to the NBA because I got to ask you a critical question from yesterday. But we talked a little bit about during the middle of the first period about the Oilers and the Stars and what you might think. And again, I was trying to say I'd be kind as far as to thinking that it could go 6. Honestly, I lean with you, Alec. I think it's going to go 5. I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Edmonton Oilers, I know it's 0-0. It's game 1. I think this is a must-win for the Edmonton Oilers. And dare I say, even though McDavid had 9 points in 7 games against the Vancouver Canucks, and he had, what was it, a 4-point game 2 where he looked really good, had multiple assists, I don't think he can have 3 games with no points like he did against the Canucks, against the Dallas Stars. And I don't think you can have those situations where you play great defense, but the Stars only get 17 or 18 shots. Edmonton Oilers need to be prepared, and I think they're going to have to play the game of their life. I think they need to steal game 1.
They need to, on the road. They have to emphasize team scoring. It can't just be the same guys over and over again. Once again, I may sound like a broken record saying this, but get everyone involved. That means goals from Holloway, Cody Ceci of all people. When we were talking about Game 7 of him having the first goal, that Game 7. I mean, that wasn't on our bingo cards, but it's a pleasant surprise for Edmonton to get goals from Ceci. Not to mention about your bottom 6, the emphasis on goal scoring. That's when Adam Henrique, should he come back from injury, that's where he steps in. Warren Foegele, Matthias Janmark, Ryan McLeod. You need everyone to be involved here for the Oilers. And to fire at will on Jake Ottinger. You can't have any of those games that Vancouver has had where he had less than 20 shots for a multitude of games, including Game 3 against Nashville where he had just 12 shots. You don't win tons of games like that. And it's not a sustainable way of winning games.
No, it's not. Because, again, as we talked about, Dallas is so deep. Their attack, and maybe we wouldn't be able to say this a few years ago if Rope Hintz wasn't in the lineup, but we can certainly say it now. Because when you got Logan Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston, Robo, and Jeremy Benenthaler-Sagan playing great hockey, I think they can afford to have a loss there for Rope Hintz and be okay, because Jake Ottinger's playing well. Thomas Harley's kind of stepped into his own. Miro Heiskanen is elite. They can afford a loss. And what I'm saying essentially, as we talked about, Connor McDavid, whether he's battling an injury or not, or just kind of playing it a little bit slow, and Chris Knoblauch taking out minutes, I think even Connor McDavid has to have a game where he scores a couple of goals here in Game 1, kind of set the tone. That's what I'm looking at. Honestly, I'll lean with you on 5. I will give a game for the Oilers because I think it's hard to sweep, but I would not be surprised, even with the expanded defense with the better penalty kill. I didn't see enough from Stuart Skinner. I saw it from Kelvin Picker, but I definitely didn't see enough from Stuart Skinner. I would not be surprised if we see a sweep. That's just where I'm leaning.
Oh, you do have some valid points, because we still need to see more of Skinner and this goaltending team of the Oilers for us to be convinced that we can see them as a serious cup contender. Yeah, the defense has improved. What about the goaltending? That's a big question. Here's a reminder. They passed on Jesper Wallstedt despite trading up in that one draft, and the Minnesota Wild took Wallstedt in said draft. It's weird to think that McDavid would be held pointless in 3 games. I haven't seen that since the Oilers faced the Ducks in the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, 9 points in 7 games is good, but pointless in 3 games, again, that just makes us scratch our head. I have to ask you this yesterday, because I was covering this game solo, but I was thinking about you because I know you cover the NBA, you cover all this other stuff across the board. We haven't looked at the Pacers and the Celtics since the in-season tournament. Happened to cover them in Game 1, and it turned out, Alec, to be an absolute epic. The Boston Celtics win 133-128. I know it doesn't come down to 2 plays, but yet the Pacers turn the ball over in a couple spots that burn them big time. But for the life of me, why didn't Rick Carlisle foul when he had the chance at the end of it? Jaylen Brown hits the 3 to force OT, and then Tatum essentially takes it home. I felt like the Pacers had that game.
Yeah, they had. I mean, when you look at it, Rick Carlisle made 2 big mistakes at the end of it. First, you don't call timeout when Andrew Nembhard ran out of room to inbound it to Pascal Siakam. Second, you don't intentionally foul Jaylen Brown at the left corner. LeBron James made a good point on the recent podcast episode he did with JJ Redick on The Old Man, The Free, that he would rather foul when up free than risk allowing the game-tying free-point shot. When you intentionally foul when up free, that means you're going to get them just 2 shots and not 3 shots when they're not taking a shot. Do a personal take foul, not a shooting foul. Do not wait until they take the shot. You have to foul immediately when they get the ball.
I agree. That was one of the things that I was thinking about. I understand it's only a couple plays, but that's what it came down to. Pacers started the game. They were down 12. They came back. They rebounded nicely. Hell, Tyrese Halliburton hit two pretty much buzzer beaters in the second and third quarter, played himself a whale of a game. And Miles Turner made one of the best moves I've ever seen. I know it's a 7-foot big man, sidestep three-pointer, but he ended up being 9 of 13, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. Yeah. I'm not sure if these guys could play much better, and they lost game 1.
I'd wonder, because the Pacers, it felt like it was a little confidence shaken up, despite being sky-high confidence-wise into game 1. It felt like they had this in the bag, with Tyrese Halliburton getting 2 buzzer beaters. Then the Celtics took over in the clutch, despite Jason Tatum not having a point in the final 5 minutes of regulation. However, in overtime, 2 free throws, a layup, a free-pointer, and then free throws to seal this one up. I believe that's 9 points he had, he had 9 points in all of overtime, 10 points in all of overtime in that game 1. And I'm tired of all this conversation about Jason Tatum is not that guy. He can't deliver. He is that guy for the Celtics. The 10 points in overtime solidified that in another double-double effort to finish with 36 points on the game. It's clear that Tatum, and I'm tired of all the discourse surrounding Tatum, whether he's a superstar or not. He is a superstar. End of discussion.
Absolutely, Alec. Thank you for saying that and going on the soapbox for a second. I agree with you. I couldn't believe when I heard that again from Kendrick Perkins when he's like, hey, I don't know if this guy can close. Are you kidding me? Jason Tatum is at worst a top 5 player in the NBA. The Celtics were able to move down in the draft when they got Jason Tatum, and they still got the best player in the draft.
You'd wonder how that worked. But that's the emphasis of development and the belief in your players. You develop your young guys. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the Batman and Robin of the Celtics. Look, people can talk about Jaylen Brown trade rumors this, Jaylen Brown trade rumors that. How about no? Brown is selling comfortably as the number 2 to Tatum. This is the clear 1-2 punch for the Celtics, who have arguably the best starting 5 in the NBA, and each one of them is playing their role, even without Kristaps Porzingis in game 1.
I agree. The Drew Holiday pickup was excellent. When they do get Kristaps back, this is exactly what they wanted to be. If the Celtics can fight through this and find a way to get to the final, they should feel pretty good. I know the Timberwolves in Dallas are also fighting for that right as well. I'm only going to mention one more thing, and then we'll move on from this game. It did shock me a little bit, but maybe the Boston Celtics didn't fall that much because the paint points, they were pretty close, 58-56 in favor of the Celtics, but this was the one thing that wasn't close. Free throw disparity. The Celtics had 30 attempts to the Pacers 10, and they won by 5. We'll see if that gets a little more even in game 2. Maybe it was the fact that the Celtics weren't fouling at all, but they got to the line a heck of a lot more than the Pacers did.
Yeah, I feel this is the importance of discipline in the playoffs. I know people are increasingly, and I mean increasingly, using the referee excuse about free throws. The discipline matters. Do not foul when someone is taking a shot. Do not make any excuses when you miss your free throws. You got to make your shots.
I like that, Alec. I appreciate you saying that earnestly and honestly, because I agree with you completely. Again, I don't like the complaining side of it. That is the only thing, as I move from the other series here between the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. Luka Doncic is one of the best players in the entire world, and I will have no blasphemy from that. But I still think the 25-year-old could use a little bit more maturity. Can I say that fairly, Alec? I think it's too much complaining to the referees.
I mean, in some ways it can be justified with how some calls are a little controversial. Sure. Other times, I just feel it's a bit too excessive. But nonetheless, he's still a generational talent. So, and for Anthony Edwards, good development with him under Chris Finch. All-around team. Doncic, still one of the best players in the league. So far, he's living up to that on the way to the Western Conference Final. But it feels like the Mavericks are taking turns between him and Kyrie Irving on who is going to show out more on some nights. One night's Luka, the other night is Kyrie. Truth is, the Mavs need both on the court mostly at the same time because that's when they thrive the best.
Yeah, they do. Let me ask you this as far as the duo, because we got 5 minutes to puck drop and then you'll take over here. But for Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, I understand the pressure is probably 80% on them. But how much pressure would you put on the role players? Because I do think at times Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic can't do everything. That's why they went out and got guys like P.J. Washington to make sure that things can get a little bit easier. I think they're going to have to play well against this Minnesota Timberwolves team because their defense is stifling.
Yeah, Dallas has improved defensively. That's why they went out and got P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford from Charlotte and Washington respectively. And everyone, they've thrived in their role. At times, Washington, not Luka or Kyrie, looked like the best player on the court in that OKC series. That was in the first 4 games. Kyrie and Luka took over in the clutch like they're supposed to. The role players as well, living up to how they played. Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, even Dante Exum and Derrick Jones Jr.
Those are some names. Again, I'm watching the score line right now. It's 37-32 Minnesota with about 10:25 left to go in the second. If that game and our game ends around certain time, we can take a live look in that as we're getting closer to the second period. But your leading scorers, Kyrie Irving 13 for the Mavs on 6 of 9. He's had a good game so far through 11 minutes of action. Jaden McDaniels with 12, 4 of 4, 4 of 4 from distance as well. And I think this has got to be good for Rudy Gobert. He leads everybody right now in plus-minus on the floor with 4 points and a plus 12.
He knows how to space out the floor. Shut down defenders, so is McDaniels. McDaniels is also a three-point shooter, as is noted about the Timberwolves. And he knows how to make those from long distance. Corners are his favorite spots.
Doing a lot of damage. Again, the role players that we talked about, it's not just the superstars that do the damage, it's the role players. We'll figure that out as well as that moves on. We're about 3 minutes away from puck drop here. We've kind of covered across every series. I am looking forward to this second period. I can't wait till you take it away. Honestly, I want to know now, Alec, and this is just my thoughts here in the sense of what will the Rangers do to get through Florida's pressure? It felt like that 8 minutes toward the back end of that period was the favor of the Panthers. What adjustments are the Rangers going to make? The only thing I can think of right now is just make sure you get rid of this puck a little bit quicker. Make sure you know who's behind you. And don't just try to force something out of the zone because it looks like both of these defenses are well enough to pinch. They're getting steals, and they're creating havoc at the blue line.
They have. Yeah, both defenses, they're right at it at the blue line. So for the Rangers, if they were to turn things around in the second period, I would think that they would want to get the Panthers to commit penalties, draw the penalties that could get you on the power play. You're good at home when on the man advantage, and you need to emphasize that and double it down with your power play lamp lighting that it is. You got to find a way to get on the power play. And I believe, and just as we were speaking, when you said live look in, there might be a charge that was drawn by the Mavericks, but get on the power play. Find ways to get on the power play and get right back at it at even strength. The Rangers historically over the Panarin era, you're not really a team that dominates at even strength, but through the years in recent history, I feel that it's trending upwards in terms of even strength, but they have to get all the way up there with other elite teams, such as the aforementioned Panthers, before they can deal some serious damage at 5-on-5 in this game.
I've heard that a lot, and you're not wrong, all things considered, but I just find it hard to believe that they don't play a little bit better 5-on-5 than they do, considering the personnel that they have. It's a little bit odd to me.
Yeah, it's a bit, considering that they're dominant on special teams, power play, and shorthanded. Even strength, it's been a different story.
we'll see if that continues to change. Honestly, I think it's going to have to change in this series, and it will be a cause of conversation here because we think it's going to be a long series. But if the Panthers do take advantage of the Rangers' uneven strength, as you mentioned, that could go a long way to considering who's going to take a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals. So, Alec, you take it away. We're at MSG. Tkachuk's got the only goal right now for the Panthers. We'll see what the second period has in store for us.
You'll see what it has in store. Second period is set to begin momentarily. I'm Alec Nava, here with John Ott for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. It's bizarre to say this, but we'll be guaranteed a first-time Stanley Cup winner this century, as all four of these teams have not won a Stanley Cup since at least 1999.
Taking me back to the time when I was about 12 years old, so playing on the Sega Genesis in between like NHL 96, 97, the good times there. Thinking about that between these teams, and also, as you mentioned, all four of those teams in that spot, Panthers have still never won one.
Yeah, and that includes the recently eliminated Vancouver Canucks, which this statement rings true when you include them, as they were the last eliminated team in the second round. Rangers have the puck at their attacking end to begin the second period. It's a long for the point, long shot, rebound in front, and that was swept wide of Bobrovsky to his right. Panthers clear, will be gloved down by Keandre Miller. Jacob Trouba will pick this one up. He has the only penalty of the game thus far. Matthew Tkachuk has the only goal of this game thus far. The Panthers, they've been stifling when scoring the game's first goal, but the Rangers, they're undeterred on most nights when that happens. Tkachuk ran out the puck. Lindgren, a ride on behind Shesterkin's crease by one of the Panthers. Up front for Roslovic, behind the fence, here comes Chris Kreider. It's in, and that's kicked out by Sergei Bobrovsky's right pad. Carter Verhaeghe brings it up for Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk goes on for a spin, poked away by Vesey. It's Will Cooley and not Chris Kreider, I meant to say, as Cooley. Right behind Brandon Montour, around for the far boards. Goodrow, kept in by Lindgren, spun around for the top of the left circle. The pass not there. The Panthers clear. That might be from behind the red line, and it is. Icing the call. We're going to face off right back at the Florida zone.
So a couple breakaways both ways here, and Will Cooley, he's a cool customer. As he gets a long outstretched pass, this is bounced in between nicely. What a pick across the logo. But Cooley kind of ran out of room there. Niko Mikhailov was close enough. They actually got a piece of that as well, as Bobrovsky made an easy save.
He was trying to fire it far side, right between the blocker and the right pad. That's what his intent. Just didn't get the squeeze right through. Here's Anton Lundell walking this in. Cross-ice pass, not there. Rangers pick it back up. It's Lafreniere for the far side. Lafreniere trying to set things up. Pass across, and Bobrovsky sweeps it out. How did that not go in? Schneider's on the keep. The Rangers are awestruck, and so am I, on how it did not go in. Schneider dumps it around for the near boards, getting it to the far side. Lostarina was there. Ekman Larson gets it out. And over to Gustafsson, who retreats back to his own blue line. Panthers get some reinforcements on the ice, fresh bodies. For the left side, the tip in front from Kakko doesn't get there. And it's cleared out by Lostarina. Not all the way. Now it is all the way. Over to the Ranger logo. Here is Sam Bennett walking this in. Bennett shot. Shesterkin shut it down. And will cover it up with 17:53, second period.
Good chance off the rush there. And as you said from the previous, it was a flipping puck. And near the right post is the profile of Vinny Trocheck. There was a flyby off a chance that just went wide to the right side post. Looking at this live on the left side dot. Cross pass stopped by Bobrovsky. Closed the 5-hole there. And that was in between the shot block as well. So Vinny Trocheck, he's already had a couple primetime opportunities.
And that was in the midst of a Panther change as well, so they couldn't defend all the way on that last defensive possession. Off the faceoff, Kakko near corner. Cannot be cleared out as Stenlund held it in. Right behind Shesterkin's crease, played out to the far corner and back across the near corner from Gustafsson to Schneider. Both were shoved towards the wall. Schneider by Lomberg. Rangers can't clear. Good he keep in by Stenlund as it's Lomberg. Lomberg fires one, and he takes a heavy hit by Schneider. And down goes another Panther. That was Kolakov. Panthers trying to get the physical battle right back to them as Forsling is holding this one through. Stenlund, right side. There's a block there. Kakko. And finally, the Rangers get this one out after it felt like they were trapped for so long. Cato to the bench after that dump in. New forwards out there for the Rangers as Roslovic's line gets back out. Swing across for Ekblad. Entry feed for the right side from Reinhardt. Reinhardt can't stare this through. The Panthers delayed offside. They'll have to all exit out and re-enter. Trouba behind and across for Miller. Gave it away over to Barkov. Barkov tried to find the open man down low. Nobody was behind Shesterkin. And out this goes for the Rangers. It has to be something here for them because there's been a whole bunch of nothing in the attacking zone. That's off some good breakaway chances from Braden Schneider and Will Coley. On Sergei Bobrovsky, Schneider hit the post earlier. Coley was stopped by Bobrovsky. The Panthers now have this back in their own zone. Here's Forswing. Forswing, the entry feed over to the near side for Reinhardt. Reinhardt shot. Shesterkin. Eagle eyes it. 12-9 the shots. Another stoppage.
Yeah, and you're right. Again, Florida really, again, from that last 8 minutes from the first and now leading into all of the second, they're starting to impose their will. They're closing the Rangers on the zone with the exception of the breakaways you said from Cooley. But Florida, they're also starting to lay the boob as well on some of these hits. So it's looking pretty good right now on the road for the Panthers.
And so far, it is so good. They're unscathed when on the road, just as how much they're unbothered when they're at home. So on the road, it doesn't really affect them knowing that they have won 3 straight games on the road and 4 of 5, 6 straight at Boston Ice. Behind that, Lundell. Lindgren spinning him around. Lindgren poked it free, but rushing in is Tkachuk. Tkachuk over to Lindell. Nothing there as Zibanejad took it up. And out to center. This will go. Corralled down, bouncing puck. Went off of Goodrow and past him. Over near the Panthers zone, they recollect. Skating says Nico Mikko on the drop pass for Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe, curl and drag. Overshot it. Tkachuk on the cape. Here's Montour loads up. Long shot wide the net. And skating to it is Fox over to the near half boards. Vesey backhand this one out. Recollected by the Panthers as they move it up. Tkachuk up for the middle. Pass too far. It will be re-corralled by Lindgren. And that one bounced off a stick. It's Montour setting things up. Not for long though. But the Panthers off this back and forth possession on these bouncing pucks. It'll go to the Rangers. Once again, sent across to the Panthers zone. Entry feed stopped. Lost Arena picks it up on his backhand. Can't control. Fox was in the way. Fox sends this in. Ekman Larson there on the reception. On for Kulikov. Now Bennett for the far side. Sam Bennett up for the ice. Has Rodriguez at the front of the net. Fires one. And several whacks at it. Nothing's there. Shesterkin jumps on it. Forces a face off to his left.
I love the pressure, Alex. Again, we talk about it a little bit with the Florida Panthers being able to intercept pucks at the blue line, get chances, traffic in front, bodies. This is a perfect start to this game. Again, we're going to talk about it probably in a few minutes from now if it doesn't start to change. Do the Rangers have an answer here in this game one, or is it just going to take a spectacular effort from one of their superstars?
The Rangers may have some signs of life, but the Panthers are quickly fighting back in these last few minutes. Here's Wenberg behind Shesterkin, spun around by Stanley and breaks free from him. Rangers lead pass over to the far side. Cannot be corralled up by Cato. Is the first to this puck behind the net. Over to Kakko. Kakko, one-timer left circle. Overshot. And the Panthers will jump on this, sweep out the rebound out of play. Oh, not out of play. It's still in play. Out to center is what I meant to say. That was Nick Cousins on the clear. Bobrovsky to his right. And for the far boards is Stenlund now. Stenlund up for the air. The bouncing puck picked up now by Gustafsson and across for Schneider. Schneider for the near boards. Entry feed for Kakko. He is shut off. And the near half board, Stenlund tried to clear. Can't do so. Kakko on the hold. Open man is Trocheck. Trocheck shot. He broke his stick. An unlucky break for him as Bobrovsky will cover up and freeze this frozen puck.
That one hurts for Vinny Trocheck. That's so unfortunate. He gets a chance for a good pass to the right side, done. All of a sudden, the twig just cuts in half.
Oh, that's a painful break as well. Even though it was going wide anyway, it stings whenever you have a good look and you break your stick. That's bad luck.
Yeah, it is, Alec, because honestly, the Rangers haven't had that many chances to get shots in open spaces.
It is 77 points for him in the regular season, or career high. He has 14 in the playoffs. Tie up at the draw. It's at the far corner. Trocheck collects his own face-off, but it's pinned towards the wall by Reinhardt. Lafreniere helps him out. To the point it goes for Miller. Trouba, a long shot towards the net, blockered away by Bobrovsky. Is held in by Lafreniere. Trocheck there, but the Panthers cut him off. And up for the far or near side of the ice is Barkov over to Tarasenko, a one-time Ranger last year at the deadline. The Panthers tried to set us out in front. Can't do so. It's Trouba, the captain. Over to the near side of the boards for Trocheck. Trocheck over to center ice. Lafreniere is there. Picked up, and across it goes for the Breadman. On a cross, and a quick shot. That's wide. Panarin picks this one up. Right side to circle. Across this goes Lafreniere. Lafreniere over to Panarin down low and back for Lafreniere on the return feed. Lafreniere dropping off for Trouba. Tight shot. Went off Kachuk's stick. Trouba tried to hold and does. Trouba across. And another tight shot. That was Zibanejad. Doesn't go anywhere. Back to the point. One drive. That was wide the net. Held inside by Miller. Back to the right point. It is Panarin. Panarin gets it down low right behind the net over to Rozovic at the near corner. Rozovic waits. Panarin still out there on the ice. Kreider waiting at the bench for when his turn is going to come. And the Panthers do clear. They get some fresh bodies onto the ice. And their shift times come to a close for some more fresh bodies. Ryan Lindgren, far side. Entry feet deflected inside. Bobrovsky will play this one over to the near boards for Bennett. Bennett up for Luostarinen. Through center ice and up to the Ranger zone is Rodriguez. One-timer just missed Shesterkin's glove. And all the way this goes to the Panther zone, whereas Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the ex-Coyote, picking this one up. Shoved towards the wall by Rozovic. Panthers still have it. And up this goes on the return feed for Ekman-Larsson. This might be an icing, in which it is. We'll have a face-off back at the Panther zone, but a penalty is coming up against the Rangers in the meantime.
Yes, it is. And again, Alec, I'm making this mention because Cooper just texted me. He's not going to be able to jump on the mic yet, but he'll request it when he can. He's just listening in. So Roslovic going to go to the box for a minor. Florida goes to the power play. I was going to say something nice about the Blue Shirts. I thought just before the Roslovic penalty that they were having their best pressure of the game, but a cross-check to the back of the head for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was just uncalled for. I don't care if it was the lightest of contact by Rozovic on Ekman-Larsson. That was totally uncalled for. Why are you doing this?
I don't know. You're giving Florida an opportunity in which you just had some good puck possession the other way. And I think as soon as he comes back out of the box, I'm not going to say instant demotion for Jack Roslovic as far as first line going forward, but you know that Laviolette's going to have some words to be able to share because you can't afford to do that against a team like the Florida Panthers.
No, you can't. They can strike out the power play any time. Doesn't matter when or if it is later on. They can strike and with deadly precision. Doesn't matter if their power play has been down from previous years. That's still one of the top power plays in the league.
Yes, it is. Igor Shesterkin now 12 out of 13. Sergei Bobrovsky 9-9. As we're in the middle of the commercial break, let me just ask you this, Alec. I know we talked about it a little bit from the open as far as goaltending percentages between Shesterkin and Bobrovsky. Again, about a 15-point difference. But I heard some people say that Bobrovsky might totally get outplayed in this series, but I don't buy that. Do you?
No. I feel he has the talent to match Shesterkin on all fronts. He may not be the goaltender he was previously, but he still can show flashes of his great self from those Columbus years. Last year was the prime example of it, including that 4 overtime thriller.
Yeah, again, he's one of the reasons why they went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. So I don't buy it myself. Again, when you think about the 4 goaltenders that are there, it's honestly crazy to even think that Bobrovsky might be third behind Shesterkin and Jake Ottinger, but I think that's also a testament to tell you how good all these goaltenders are that are left in the playoffs.
Shesterkin and Ottinger, they're the class of the goaltenders that are remaining here. They're 2 of the Conn Smythe Trophy favorites for a reason, as they've been backstopping mostly every shot that they have faced. Well, most shots, and on most occasions, they've been so stellar, especially Shesterkin.
So this is a big-time penalty kill, as Emily Kaplan is interviewing Peter Laviolette. Again, the high stick for Jack Roslovic against OEL at 7:43. Panthers have an opportunity to take a 2-goal lead halfway through regulation.
Yeah, I remember I once watched Emily Kaplan get a win on Around the Horn. Good for her.
She's always around the coverage.
Oh yeah, especially the NHL and ESPN. Trouba got tangled up off the faceoff. Kachuk on to keep him from Montour. Barkov pinned down low by Lindgren. They both go down simultaneously, and another Panther also goes down to commotion. It's Kreider will take this up for Zibanejad on the 2-on-2 shorthanded. Zibanejad drops it back. Kreider's shot took a bounce off a skate, and there's a broken stick on the ice. Reinhart will get back over to Barkov. Stick is out there. Here's Kachuk. Feed out in front. Bouncing puck near corner. Rushing to it is Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe holding his Montour on his backhand. Rangers clear it out. This has been excellent penalty killing through these 2 penalties that they have taken this far. Stellar penalty killing. For as good as their power play has been, they can match that on the PK. Kachuk inside. Montour will drop this one back. Barkov onto the right side for Reinhart. Reinhart marches in. Barkov saw this one go over his stick. Goodrow fires around, and rushing is Kachuk on the keep. Reinhart, right side. Bouncing puck on the stick lift. Rangers get it out. First half of this power play is gone. Both teams will make changes on both their power play and penalty kill units for Florida and New York, respectively. Montour's still out there, but Tarasenko is out there on the second unit. Bennett leads the way. Bennett, high shot. Bouncing puck. Shesterkin tracks it onto his left. Stops with 46 seconds left on the power play.
That's Sam Bennett's second chance off the rush in this period. This one gets partially blocked, but I do got to mention this. We mentioned about 5 minutes ago Vinny Trocheck breaking his stick off the rush. How about Mika Zibanejad? Twice unlucky off the rush, especially on the kill. You want to be able to make something happen, and the stick shaft breaks in half. How many more times is this going to happen to the blue shirts?
Well, we'll only let the game decide for itself. That's how we'll see it, about how many times the sticks break. But it's twice. If I had a nickel for that, it happened. I had 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. If you get the Phineas and Ferb reference. Here's Ekman Larson, long wrister. That was wide. And the Rangers struggling to get this one out. Rodriguez, Lundell. Around this goes. Left point. Held in by Tarasenko. Back behind the net. It's trouble with this. Trying to clear. Lundell on the way. On the backhand. Finally cleared out by the NYR. There's Bobrovsky behind his net. He'll leave it for OEL. OEL leads the way up front for Bennett. The ex-Flame. Tarasenko. Left point. Pass intercepted by Zibanejad. And this will be cleared all the way down for Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky back for OEL, but essentially, power play time is over, and the fans are on their feet. As Jack Roslovic is back on the ice. Bennett's in. Top of the right circle. Wrister on the way. Shesterkin tracked it and frees it up with 9:50 gone in the second period.
Now we finally get a late push there. A little bit of a half deflection. Welcome, Cooper. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well, guys. Thanks for having me in today, and apologies for the surprise. I always love to join you. I know you've been covering this game since puck drop, and it looks like we got ourselves an interesting one. Of course, Alec, shout out to you for mentioning that Sam Bennett was a former Flame. Of course, it hurts my heart. He resurrected his career with the Panthers, and he's looking good tonight.
Oh, he's a playoff warrior. That can be said for sure. Dating back to his years with the Flames, that the glimpse of what he can be up with the Panthers, now in full form, not just regular season, but now playoffs as they get to experience playoff Sam Bennett. Kulikov on the keep off the faceoff. Shesterkin plays it out on his backhand. Halfway gone in regulation. Rangers looking for the tying goal. Held out by the Rangers as they're looking to advance through the ice. They had 2 successful penalty kills on the Panther when the Panthers were on the power play. They need an answer here. Bobrovsky, risky pass to Forsling, but finds Ekblad. Ekblad run over at the far corner. That was Kulikov rather. Panthers moving this one up. Here's Forsling back across. Doesn't go anywhere. Lafreniere will send this backwards. Over to Schneider. Schneider from his own zone. To the left side. Doesn't go. He'll get his own pass back. And the lead pass over to what I believe is Trocheck. He'll send it back over to Schneider. And across for Gustafsson. Back for Schneider. They're basically playing catch. Just before Schneider set this one in, Bobrovsky will leave behind for his guy. And this one deflected out of play. Will do get a TV timeout. Schneider tried to track it Forsling on the out of play pass.
Again, they just profiled Gustav Forsling. How about this, gentleman? And combined with the regular season of the playoffs, this guy's a plus 65 on the ice.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's extremely impressive. And guys, as we hit the break here, partially for my own personal edification, but just for any of our listeners as well, we're about halfway through regulation here. Obviously, Matthew Tkachuk, of course, famously another former Flame. There go my tears. They're rolling down my cheeks, et cetera, et cetera. He's our only goal scorer. But why don't you give me, if both of you want to just give me a sentence or two, give me your reset. What do you think have been the most important pieces of this game? Who's standing out to you? Who needs to step up as we get to the second half of this contest?
You want to lead it off, Alec?
Yeah, so what we lead off with is 5-on-5 play. The Panthers have had the upper hand 5-on-5. the Rangers have had the upper hand on special teams. I know they didn't have a power play yet, but the Rangers, they've been forcing some tougher looks for the Panthers when they have been on the power play. But 5-on-5, it's been mostly all Panthers. Whether it be on the forward core or the defensive core, the Panthers defense is shutting down the Rangers' 5-on-5 attack. And that's what's been the main difference here. Igor Shesterkin is basically doing everything for the Rangers. He just needs his guys to step up.
I'm looking at specifically, because again, Alec made the right points. I'm looking at specifically, Cooper, the amount of steals and the amount of push-ups that the Florida defense is able to get at the blue line. They're forcing the Rangers into turnovers, forcing them into plays along the boards and making them uncomfortable. The forecheck has been very prevalent. I think that's another reason why they're up by a goal.
Yeah, excellent assessment, guys. I'm getting the ESPN highlight package here. It looks like the Rangers have had a few opportunities, and I heard you discussing Bobrovsky's play, which has been solid here. You know, he may not be at the A-plus top of his game, but he is an elite goaltender, and it looks like he's shown it a few times tonight.
If that's been shown on several of his saves, including the Will Cooley shot on the breakaway and several more odd man rushes for the Rangers on the way to the net. So we're back underway here. The Panthers get this one out. 13 shot attempts off the rush for the Panthers as opposed to 12. 5-2 chances off the rush in favor of the Rangers. Behind Shesterkin's crease, this puck is at no man's land. Barkov there, Reinhart there, Tarasenko there. Movement from the puck. Comes out over to the left point. Forcing on the keep. Over to Barkov, pinned towards the wall by Trocheck. Shakes free of him. Barkov holding at the left circle. Spins around Trocheck. Down low at the goal line. Had it poked free. Can't hold it, but Tarasenko could. At the near corner still. Tarasenko had it swept away from him. The Breadman collects. Behind is Trocheck. And will leave it open for Miller. Around for Trouba. Most frequent pairing between Miller and Trouba for where they have been in throughout the postseason. This puck sent in by the Rangers. The Panthers are the first there. Up for Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe from the red line. Sends this one through, up and around. Linger is the first there. Tkachuk arrives with him. Tkachuk finds the open Lundell. Can't get it to him, but finds the open Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe set up in front. Lundell couldn't handle this pass. Mikola on the keep. Back around for the near corner. Tkachuk shakes off his man. Can't send this one through. Mikola slowed down Trocheck. Or that was actually Rozovic. And this one might be out. Verhaeghe in the first round had 5 goals. He had just 1 in the second round.
I am just impressed. Again, we talk about it a little bit in the sense that the Rangers don't get as many shots on goals. I think they should, but even with Florida's defense, the Rangers have just 9, and we have 7 minutes and 58 seconds to play in the second period.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, gentlemen. And you know what? Matthew Tkachuk's stats are popped up here. Of course, he has a goal, 2 hits, 3 block shots, and his hockey sense continues to impress me. He is just so good at seeing the ice. Even when he's not looking at his teammates streaking through, he gets those passes right where they need to be. Just impressive stuff from 19.
An all-around forward, physical, and a leader. That's what the Panthers traded him for, just as this puck goes out of play right into the safety netting. And we have another stoppage with 7:40.
So just looking at these stats here, the hits are 16-15, just in favor of the Panthers. Maybe that's a little more hits right now than the Rangers would normally throw, speaking of their opponent, and the 16-9 advantage for the Cats on the draw. Just 1 power play in this game so far, in the sense of it that mattered. You got 2 on the board right now as it updated, but again, 1 even straight goal for Tkachuk.
High shot. Glove down by Shesterkin. We have yet another stoppage. 7:33.
Yeah, and Alec, you make a point that I was going to bring up had you not mentioned it in a timely way. John, we talk about this sometimes. We've done it in the past during our one-on-one coverage. We talk about game flow, and there doesn't seem to be a ton of it right now. However, when there is, the Panthers seem to me to have gotten a little bit better of the game flow. You can see that in their ozone time with over 8 minutes as opposed to just 5 for the Rangers. But Alec, I'll let you jump back into that play-by-play.
It is Tarasenko at a poke free by the Rangers. At for the near corner, Cato, long drive. Shesterkin eagle-eyes it. 7:22. That took 33 seconds. It took 11 seconds. That's 1/3 of 33. That's what I was thinking about the last time we had to whistle. It's on the stoppage.
We get another one here. Again, I apologize. I had a barking dog, so I'm keeping my microphone muted for a moment. Let you step into it.
Oh, this one deflected. That was Barkov on the tip. And it was got off the piece of Shesterkin. Barkov tried to drive it over to Tarasenko, which he does. Tarasenko slowed down by Trouba. Trouba tried to pry this one free, but Reinhart already did so for the Panthers. Reinhart for Tarasenko. Nothing's there. And rushing all the way back, it's Gustav Forsling. He had to use its entire burst of speed to get back to this puck. Forsling now starts up after Keto Eagle item to watch its every action. Inside Stenlund. Poke free. Now here come the Rangers. This could be a break for Lafreniere. Lafreniere can't drive his way around for the goal. But rushing there on time is Lindgren. Bouncing puck. Far corner. Lafreniere over to the Breadman. Panarin at the far side. Looking back for Lindgren. It's long one-timer. That one wide than that. Fox on the keep. Held towards the wall. Stenlund around for Mikkola. Mikkola, the bouncing puck kept in by Lindgren. Lindgren rid of the puck, but it's held inside. Long pass doesn't make it there. Here is Fox. Long wrister. Not there. Now it's Lafreniere send it backwards. And back this goes all the way to the Ranger zone. This may be not iced. Lomberg fisticuffs on Adam Fox trying to poke it away. Cousins also there. Over to the far side this goes. Kulikov has some trouble holding it, but Deuce does so. Cousins can't stare this out in front. Now here comes the Breadman. Panarin looks to the right side. Pass a little too far. Barclay Goodrow ran it around. Panthers get it out. And recollected by Schneider. Schneider across. There's a loose stick on the ice. It's broken. And up front is Jimmy Vesey. Vesey trying to get this one away over from Anton Lundell. And several whacks at it. The Panthers get it out. Driving his way over to the broken stick. Gustafsson gets the broken stick out the way. Rangers get this one down behind Bobrovsky. Ekman Larson rushing there. He's the first to this. Here's Barkov leading the way. Sasha Barkov to left for Tkachuk. Tkachuk deflecting this one in and recollecting this is Verhaeghe. Tkachuk around for the net. Nothing there for the moment. Tkachuk around for Ekblad who drives it over to the left circle. Ekblad looking backwards. This guy's going backhand around for the net. Verhaeghe tied up by Gustafsson. Gustafsson swept it free. Open man is Barkov. And that was turned away by Shesterkin. That was a dangerous chance for the Panthers. Right around in front. And behind it is Barkov, who will look to set up in front from Gretzky's office. Barkov again. Far side of the boards. Barkov finding open Forsling. Forsling's shot went up high. Verhaeghe picks up the rebound. The sweet pass. Nothing there, and this puck exits harmlessly all the way to the Florida zone. So many good chances, yet it remains 1-0. This could be an even bigger margin for the Panthers. Had those been capitalized as Tarasenko give and go around. Barkov, a poke there behind the net. Several more Rangers arrived there, including Trouba and Keandre Miller. Cleared out to center, picked up by Rozovic, but it lands onto the Panthers, who lead in shots on goal 17-9, yet it's a 1-goal game. Miller there. Poked free, Reinhart the far corner. Across for Bennett, the pass intercepted by Miller, and the Rangers will restart. Coley, oh, he put Sam Bennett on a blender on the dipsy doodle. Holy moly. And Coley gets reverse jammed by Kulikov. And around through the boards is a bouncing puck for Sam Bennett, and an icing is here, but boy, oh boy, we have seen a lot.
Yes, we have. And again, that pass from behind the net for Tkachuk to Barkov, I don't know how he doesn't finish that if not for Igor Shesterkin there. And we see it again on the shot board. No shots in the last 14 minutes for the Rangers. Is that just because the Florida defense is so good, or are the Rangers playing a little bit tight here?
You know, John, I'm going to say they're not playing all that tight, but you know what I think? I don't think they're playing with a ton of confidence, and I don't know why. They're starting the series at home. They've made their way to the final. They are game. They have the ability to make this a real series. I think that we have two series that look similar, where I think most folks are expecting the Stars to win in the West and the Panthers to win in the East. So maybe that mentality has leaked in a little bit. The Rangers just don't look like they're playing up to the level of Florida right now.
And as we speak, Adam Fox, he was the man who took that last shot for the Rangers. He's due for a goal, but his drought continues on this TV timeout.
Again, they mentioned going in for Adam Fox. He does have 4 assists and a +1, but he does not have a goal yet for the Rangers. Again, I'm looking right now. This is just with my 4 eyes, where the push is going to come from. And again, I noted the only thing I had was about 2.5 minutes before that Roslovic penalty at 7:43, where I saw the Rangers get an elongated puck possession probably for about 90 seconds, moving it around the horn. Other than that, the Florida Panthers seem to have all the answers right now.
So far, it has been the case.
Yeah, they do. And you know what I'm noticing, too? It's just 2/3 of the ice are owned by the Panthers right now. And But what I mean by that is that the Panthers, and John and Alec, we've seen this when we've covered games together. I'm sure you two gentlemen, when you've done your one-on-one, you've seen this in certain instances where a team is just given too much freedom through the neutral zone. And when you're able to enter your offensive zone with pace and without really being pressured all that much, that just begins to snowball and cascade. You can set up at the blue line a little bit more easily. Your defensemen feel like they have room and time to pass along the line and then send it down low with forwards who can either fight in the corners, and when you have the quality of a Matthew Tkachuk, who can send it out blind, almost on a 45-degree angle right to the high slot. The Panthers have a recipe for success. And Alec, you said it earlier, I think the Rangers are lucky that this thing is only 1-0.
Yep, for sure. It could be a lot worse given the amount of giveaways that they had in that first period, where they had 6, even 5 in the first 14 or so minutes of this game.
Profiling between Vincent Trocheck and Alex Barkov, two of the very best on both sides. We need somebody on the Rangers to maybe get a late goal here in the second, or at least keep this within 1. You take it away, Alec. And
interestingly enough, Trocheck chose the number 16 when he landed with the Carolina Hurricanes because of Sasha Barkov as we get an icing. Interesting to note out, and he's living up to the game that Barkov has been playing. Defensive-minded two-way center with an offensive upside.
I kind of thought about it. I'm thinking about a Vincent Trocheck playing across all lines. I know we got Barkov, we got Tkachuk, and guys like that are superstars, but I really think Vincent Trocheck might have the most on his plate more than anybody.
He might. On the keep, Sam Reinhart. And up around is Keandre Miller. 13 points for Barkov in the playoffs, 80 in the regular season. Miller across. And as we speak, it's Barkov with the defensive play to intercept the passing lane. At the far half boards, Rangers are tied up. Miller on the keep. Behind Bobrovsky now. First there is Tarasenko, gets pinned along for the wall. And struggling to pick this one up is Kreider, who drove it over to the point with Trouba on the keep around. Pass down in front. Nothing there. 2:55 to go. It's still a one-goal game. Barkov leads the entry. Around the near boards. Back around is Reinhart. Reinhart driven to the far corner. Miller there. Zibanejad there. Verhaeghe there as this puck is once again trapped in no man's land. It's Verhaeghe with this, trying to send this backwards. Still in no man's land, but it comes out for Lundell. At the point, Ekblad across with Forsling. Forsling shot. Shesterkin shut it down. Right in front. 2:32 left.
John, I want to ask you a quick question here. Can you believe this? I'm seeing this stat. 31 and a half minutes in the first 5 games that the Rangers were trailing at home, over 21 minutes just tonight. They seem shell-shocked. We're going to have to discuss this during the break because you asked, where's the push going to come from? Right now, I can't answer that question.
No, I'm thinking the same thing, too. Right now, Florida's got the answers. It's Paul Maurice right now against Peter Laviolette. And I always mention with Paul Maurice, he embodies his squad better than anyone. They're playing a perfect road game to me right now.
Yeah, the road doesn't seem to bar the Panthers here. It's clear. Does not make it all the way for an icing. Good time for the Rangers there. Tkachuk had it poked loose. Here is Anton Lundell, slowed down by Barclay Goodrow. And around for Shesterkin, who places it behind. Lindgren ties his man up. That was Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe, far side, right circle. Verhaeghe fires it, blocked in front. Rebound loose for Tkachuk. Bouncing puck goes wide the net. Verhaeghe, he's still stung, but still fighting through the pain. Tkachuk, right around, fighting Lundell at the near corner. Back for Verhaeghe at the opposite corner. Right circle, sends one across over to Lundell, tied up at the shot. Shesterkin banked it off his stick to himself, and he'll cover 1:51 left in the second.
That's dangerous passes across from that Lundell line. That's why they moved him up to the second. Barclay Goodrow, he was down for a moment, dropped his stick near the right side circle.
Yeah, it looks like he went down to block a shot. He probably would have liked to take it off the hockey pants, but he got it off the hand. So that's got to sting. I don't care how padded those gloves are. And boy, right now we're starting to see it from Shesterkin. It looks like he is trapping that puck and covering up whenever he can. He has got a lot of pressure in front of him. The boys in the blue shirts need to turn things around, or else their goalie's going to get a little too fatigued here. You can't rely on him forever.
No, you can't. That's unfortunately what happened with Henrik Lundqvist in his prime years, that they relied too much on him. Season low for 2 periods, 11 shots. As the Panthers iced this, perhaps an opportunity to get on the board here for the Rangers, we do not know.
Yeah, I think from what I'm seeing, this is a blanket statement. It looks like the Rangers need a power play if they're going to try to get something going, because 5-on-5 feels one way and one way only right now.
Yeah, it feels one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that, John. And Alex, just don't want to step on your play-by-play there. This happens sometimes, I may be a few seconds ahead of you here, but John, I think you're right about that power play.
The pass over to the right circle, Adam Fox's shot, blocked by Kulikov right in front. Fox on the keep. Some Rangers fans are wanting a penalty here. Oliver Ekman-Larsson touches up, and these NYR fans will get their wish. And just as we were talking about, John, the blue shirts are headed to the man advantage.
Maybe it's whenever Cooper Hopkins comes into the play-by-play side for all of us that things start to happen. I'm starting to wonder how I'm getting so psychic here, because I'm behind both of you gentlemen.
Yeah, John, this is becoming a thing. I don't know how else to say this, but when you make a statement, my spectacled friend, these things somehow become reality, and sometimes in very short order. I mean, I think it was a 10-second period that we waited after your statement, and then all of a sudden, the Rangers on the man advantage. Alec, I'm excited for this play-by-play. Let's see if they can turn it around right here. Blue shirts, man up. They got to do some work.
Panarin, Zibanejad, anyone, they could strike. Kreider at the front of the goal. He had a natural hat trick last time we saw the Rangers, which I covered Game 6 again between them and the Hurricanes. A shot made it to Bobrovsky. He stopped it. Zibanejad around for the net. Forsling there, trying to clear, and does. It sailed over Panarin. 1:13 left in the second period, so if the Rangers don't convert, they will have carryover power play time. But do remember, the Panthers have the third best penalty kill in the postseason. The Rangers have the third best power play, so basically it cancels each other out. Panarin's pass didn't make his way through, but it's Trocheck on the keep. Onto the opposite side, nobody there for the Rangers. Stenlund gets it out, and over to Luostarinen, pass across. Panarin looks to lead the way, and across it goes Fox, dropping back Zibanejad. Zibanejad fakes out several Panthers, can't get it by Stenlund, and Stenlund fired to Shesterkin, who's behind the net. 38 seconds on the penalty, or second period, I meant. Fox, again, will look to drop and does so for Panarin. Panarin leaned away. Panarin looking for a lane, down and about. Behind the net is Kreider. Back for Panarin, at the near corner. Reinhart there, sending pass for Kreider, over to Trocheck. Another drop pass, Fox. Zibanejad's one-timer is blocked in front. Zibanejad, courageous keep, but it bounces onto a Panther. And all the way out. Rangers have to hurry here for the second period. Here's Fox. One last rush for them. Adam Fox. Artemi Panarin. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. Panarin. Right side. Fox. Cross-ice pass. Zibanejad. That was the best chance. Bobrovsky got all the way back across with a last-ditch save to end off the second period and send the Panthers back up 1-0 to end the first 40 minutes.
That was spectacular at the end for Sergei Bobrovsky. He says, boys, I'm here. I'm making sure this game stays 1-0. That was a prime setup for Mika there.
Yeah, what an amazing moment. And unfortunately for the Rangers, it comes as the second period expires. They really found their game. This is what you were talking about, John. Alec, you mentioned it earlier. They needed to turn things around. Sometimes you have to be on the special teams, get a little bit of fortune from the hockey gods. They got it, but they weren't relying on luck on that last setup when they got that cross-ice pass going low to high to the far boards, I should say, and a beautiful shot right on. Would have been tucked into that right side post to Bobrovsky's right. Slides across. May have gotten a piece of Zibanejad, I believe as well, was down there just outside the crease. But my goodness, what a setup, and it could have very easily been 1-1. That is going to be a big piece of the narrative as we get through this break and into the third period. Wow.
Yes, it is. And again, as we talk about it, just give you the official numbers again. Igor Shesterkin, 17 of 18. Bobrovsky, 12 of 12. Again, your shots are 18-12 for the Cats. Hits are 19-17, so not nearly as physical. What Florida likes to do, about 35 hits per 60, maybe even above that. We're well below that right now. And then 21 and 14 on the draw for Florida here. The giveaways, Alec had mentioned this. He did so beautifully in the first. This is what the Rangers need to clean up. Maybe this is what Florida has forced. The giveaways are 10-2, and New York unfortunately leaves in that category.
They're being a little too careless on the ice with some reckless decisions. I mean, when you look at it, it feels like they're getting a little lost. The Panthers, I feel they're forcing them into said mental mistakes on the front, taking the passes away from them.
And Matthew Tkachuk has the only goal right now at 16:26 the first, his fifth of the postseason from Gustav Forsling and Carter Verhaeghe. He got a chance near the right side dot after a Forsling pass. He shoots this thing in between Adam Fox, and it beats Igor Shesterkin. Partially couldn't see it because he shot it through the defense, but I didn't think Shesterkin had anything to do on that one. That is the only goal there is. Power play carryover time. When I take the first 10, I'll let Alec close this one because I closed the last one on Monday. Cooper, I got to ask you this, and I asked Alec this in the first intermission, but I got to throw this your way. I try to be kind as far as what I can do sometimes when we get to the play-by-play, or I'll say some things. I'll try to throw some stuff the other way. What I mean by that is this. The Edmonton Oilers, yeah, their defense is a little bit better. Their penalty kill has been really good in the playoffs. They've been opportunistic. They find a way to win a 7-game series, and you can only play who you can play, but they won the 7-game series against the Vancouver Canucks. Again, the Canucks at times were held to maybe 10 or 12 shots a goal at a time. I don't think that's going to happen against the Stars. They do have to play the Stars tomorrow, and I think this is a critical game one for the Oilers. Hell, I think they must win game one if they even have a chance in this series. Most people are saying 6 for the Stars. I struggle to even find them winning a game.
That is a bold statement, my friend, but the way you're predicting things these days, who am I to argue? You seem to be right on top of pretty much everything, hitting bullseye after bullseye. But look, there are any number of things we could talk about here. I think one of the first ones, look, let's start where we usually start with the Oilers, and the team doesn't always go as Connor McDavid goes, but my point is, they have found a way to move on to the Western Conference Final, despite the fact that their best and brightest, even though Leon Draisaitl is firing on all cylinders, 97, there's some speculation that something could be wrong under the hood there. And by that, I mean there could be an injury that we don't know about. Perhaps it's just a bit of shock in the hockey world that Connor McDavid is not producing multiple points night in, night out. But he has been a lot quieter than we're accustomed to. And I think it goes without saying that simply cannot be the case. I mean, look, I love what you're seeing from some of the blue liners from the Oilers. Shaq Hyman continues to be a story, and he just finds a way in front to get that puck into the cage. It's now we're talking about playoff goal scoring records, and Zach Hyman's in that discussion. What wild world do we live in? But it's one where he is performing, and interestingly enough, Connor McDavid is not. Now, that's just one side of things. That's the offensive side, even though he's a complete forward. But then we have to look at the goaltending as well. I think that it's going to be a tough task for Skinner. And look, he has played decently, but I feel like the Vancouver Canucks probably would have come out of that 7-game series had we not seen the issues with Brock Besser. And, of course, we wish him all the best with his health issues. And, John, this takes me back a couple of seasons. I actually have to give tons of credit to Shelov's. Maybe it wasn't to the degree that Jake Ottinger did it, but I felt like we saw a little bit of a coming out party for the goaltender for the Canucks. He may not be a 1A just yet, but he is on his way to doing some special things, I believe. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Canucks moving forward. However, all that speech being said, yeah, the Oilers are in some danger here. I think the Stars have just gotten just the right amount of rest to allow themselves to settle just a bit without losing momentum, and game one will be huge. So basically, that's my 5-minute way of saying I agree with you, sir. must win for Edmonton in Game 1.
Yeah, I know Alec and I have gone over it. I do want to give his thoughts as well, but I also have to talk about some of the coaches that went across the hiring board today. But Alec, where do you want to lean with this intermission?
So, in terms of who's going to get the upper hand in the third period?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Say if you were to have the Panthers playing with the way that they are throughout, I feel they have at the momentum coming into the third period. Now, I know in hindsight, it's easier said than done winning this because both teams, they know how to close games out in the third. The Rangers know how to come from behind. But when you have a team that knows how to close out games when in front, it feels like it could be a coin flip either way. There's no guarantee if the Panthers hold this 1-0 lead or if the Rangers can come back from down 1-0 to potentially get game 1 here on home ice. The Panthers are playing their brand of hockey to perfection. It's been a Panther clinic in these first two periods.
Yeah, it has. Again, as you said, they've been keeping them on the outside. They're forcing them into turnovers along the boards. And they're kind of just, as Cooper mentioned, keeping it on two sides of the ice, not letting them get in the offensive end. Again, as I mentioned, I love the step-ups that they've had and across the blue line. It's been suffocating at times. And I just think in the back of my mind, when I see the Rangers have no goals and essentially have, 7 shots per each period, not even that, it really boggles my mind. I mean, it just tells me, again, as much as I think of Kachuk and Barkov and some of these excellent forwards, Florida defense is probably way underrated on my part, especially when you got guys like Gustav Forsling that's in the plus 60s.
Yeah, no, John, you make an excellent point. And listen, I know we're not in the Stanley Cup final yet, so we don't want to cross back and forth between East and West too much. But I think, listen, Dallas is rightfully getting a ton of credit. And I'm not just saying this because of my personal bias and the fact that I wish he were still a Calgary Flame, but the addition of Tanev on the Stars has gotten a lot of attention, and rightfully so. What he brings to a team and the depth that he added to that blue line has obviously already paid dividends. It's a huge factor. As long as he can stay healthy, there are issues there. But as long as he's out on the ice for any amount of time, major factor. But you make a great point about Florida. That's what I'm getting at as well. They're not often discussed as that kind of top defender package, but they obviously have what it takes here, and they are making Florida, and I mean the defenseman for the Panthers, are making these very skilled blue shirts for New York. They look a little sluggish tonight. I'm not sure what's missing, but something is missing in terms of dynamism, and I don't think it's just speed or just skill. We saw skill right at the end of the period with that beautiful setup. The Rangers have that, but it's the fact that they're not being allowed to tap into that, and I believe it's because of the Panther defense.
I want to say this one thing, and then I'll throw it back over to Alec as well, but when I look at this, Cooper, and I see a 1-0 game in between the Panthers and the Rangers, this 1-0 game feels much different than a 1-0 game did between the Oilers and the Canucks, correct? Because the Canucks couldn't seemingly get anything going. I think the reason why the Panthers make it look like the Rangers can't get anything going is just from what we talked about. They're just that good. Maybe the Canucks or the Oilers just lacked something else. It looked a little bit different when you saw a 1-0 game between them.
It's vastly different. If it's just a different feel to it. I feel with the Oilers out shooting the Canucks 23-4, and by the midway mark of the second period, it felt like the Canucks, they were just running out of gas. Too many injured bodies. The absence of Brock Besser because of a blood clot. Thatcher Demko, Casey DeSmith. It feels like nothing was going right for the Canucks in terms of shot qualities and shot output. The Panthers, they're an all-round unit. I feel there's a difference between the Oilers in that Game 7 and the Panthers in this Game 1.
Yeah, and John, and Alec, you both are correct. I think there are clear differences, but I'll just for the sake of, interesting conversation, I'll say there are some similarities as well. And it's not just the difference on the shot board, right? We could point to that stat all night, but the Oilers, that was, I think, Alec, what you were just pointing out. I mean, I'm talking smothering. It's what we expect from Edmonton. We will smother you with offense. You will not be able to perform as a full hockey team with a cohesive offense. You won't be able to execute your strategy because we'll be too busy executing in front of your goaltender. That's what I think we're talking about. Here, I think we all agree, we're seeing a really comprehensive, confident, and team-based approach from Florida. And look, it's not that the Rangers are out here being individuals and trying to be superheroes one-on-one. Of course, they did have some opportunities on breakaways. However, they just don't seem to be able to get, and John, you mentioned coaching. Maybe we can touch on that briefly. They don't seem to be able to get into their game plan and game flow. And it's not because of one or the other pieces of the Florida Panthers game. It's just that overall, Florida has stepped up. They've stepped to the table here and said, I don't care if it's MSG or we're back in the Sunshine State. We have a plan, and we are going to execute it better than you.
Yeah, I think between Paul Maurice, and this is no disrespect to Peter Laviolette, but in between Paul Maurice, I think he's got his guys buying in between all four forward lines, all three defense, hell, even the goalies if you have to. You guys are going to make things as difficult as possible across all lines, and I don't even care who I throw out there because I trust all of you can suffocate, even the New York Rangers, and that says a lot to me.
Yeah, no question about it. And I even think, look, I will lean into my bias for this one, but I'm seeing something that popped into my face, just in front of my face here as we got through the second period. You know, even the play of someone who might not get a lot of attention, but a Ryan Lomberg moving his feet quickly. Obviously, he's on the energy line. He's there to make a difference physically, but he also has the ability with his line mates and the trust from his leader, from the coaching staff, to be able to set up an offense, to be able to run the game plan, top to bottom, first line, fourth line, I don't care if it's first, second, third pairing of those blue liners. Everyone from the Panthers has the trust of their head coach. And look, that's probably the case as well with the Rangers. But just tonight, and I think we're getting a little preview of what this series is probably going to be like for New York. We don't want to be too reactionary, right? We want to say, okay, could be a long series. But over the course of what could be 6 or 7 games, the Panthers have started off on the right foot because they're executing that plan, and everyone is included, no one excluded, all on the same page, and it shows.
Yeah, that's the game plan for the Panthers. It's every man out there doing their job, all hands on deck approach, the Paul Maurice style. Very questionable move when they first hired him, but it's paid off and then some when you pair him with Matthew Tkachuk on the big acquisitions from the summer of 2022 when they came off that sweep against the Tampa Bay Lightning. That a voice change need to be had. That you want to go over to a more physical style of play. That's what they're going with. And that physical play has carried over to this point. The Panthers are playing their biggest series of the year up against a Rangers team that's looked virtually unstoppable in the first 2 rounds. And you're limiting them to this point. That's a good job for the Panthers. And you nailed it, Cooper, that this could be a preview of what's to come for the rest of the series for the Rangers. One game may not define everything, but this could be a very long series for the Rangers.
Alec, let me ask you this before we end the second period intermission. We talked about some coaches. We did mention Craig Berube not too long ago. Jim Miller gets the interim tag move, so he's going to be the head coach for the LA Kings. But today it broke that Sheldon Keefe is the head coach for the New Jersey Devils. Do you like that?
I'm kind of surprised. I thought that this would be the spot for Mike Sullivan if the Penguins were to let him go after the year, but it's the Penguins, they're not making any plans to move on from Sullivan at this current moment. For Keefe to go over to New Jersey, he's coaching a young team. And for someone who is experienced at his job, let's be clear, Keefe was not the problem in Toronto. He knows the Leafs' problem. He's coached this Leafs team to the best that he can. I feel it's a good fit for New Jersey on a change of voice. Lindy Ruff, good. You had a good season in 2023. But New Jersey's trying to rebound from a disaster of a year that this year was. You need to get more adequate goaltending if I'm New Jersey. Jake Allen and Kaapo Kähkönen is a tandem that I'm not too sure about, but it could work from a certain point of view. If I'm Keefe, that could be accounting for all the offense. You want to reinvigorate the defense, get the most out of it. Plus, you're going to get Dougie Hamilton back, along with a full year of Shimon Nemec. That's going to help. And for Keefe to be the voice to do this job, I think it's a great hire for the Devils.
Yeah, John and Alec, you really nailed something, Alec, is that I think this is a hire that speaks to the season that the Devils just had. One speculation I have, and it is pure speculation, this feels a touch like a hire that was made by a group that may or may not have been hoping Rod Brind'Amour was going to be let go. That's just a thought in the back of my head. So again, pure speculation. There were no rumors about that. Carolina obviously locked him up long term, and they did so very quickly. So let's put that to the side. But man, oh man, Alec, did you hit a bullseye right there? This feels like a Devils franchise that's saying, you know what Keefe's been able to do? He's been able to take a very good Toronto Maple Leafs team in a high-pressure market to the playoffs multiple times, not only get to that first round, but sort of break that curse, get through that round. We're getting to that first and second round area. Maybe there's that little plateau, but I think the mindset of the Toronto fan base and the Devils fan base is very different. I think if the Devils were to make it to the second round for the next 2 or 3 years, they would be thrilled. Now, obviously, the goal is to win a cup, and those discussions will have to happen if Sheldon Keefe, his pattern repeats itself and he can't get past a certain point in the playoff chase or the cup chase. However, you guys tell me if you agree. I think it's almost a no-brainer for the Devils organization to say, hey, yeah, let's get a guy who's proven it recently and can take a solid but not perfect roster relatively deep, at least past round one. What do you guys think?
That is a very big brain approach by both of you gentlemen. I think it kind of eased my mind a little bit because I was a little bit unsure, to be honest with you. But you're right. Again, the Devils, they need some consistency. And at least the Maple Leafs were consistent in making the postseason and trying to make a clear message of being a dominant regular season team. And you're right. If you're New Jersey, you're probably going to take that.
Yeah. If I'm New Jersey, I'm bringing in Keefe, given that Craig Berube has already been hired by Toronto. So you get the next best coach on the market. That is Keefe. You bring him in, and now he's in a lower pressure environment, which helps him in his case.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that because some of my other thoughts maybe are not so good. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll wait and see for a season, and then we'll revisit that one.
Yeah, boo.
Well, John, based on your predictions, the Devils fans should be very worried. If you're not feeling confident, they are in trouble, my friend.
I'll take this half, Alec, and then I'll let you close it if you're good with that, because I did close the last one, so let's keep it fair.
Yeah, let's keep it fair right now.
All right, we'll do that. So I'll jump in. This is an immediate, abbreviated power play for the Blue Shirts here. Is this their last best hope? And that's weird to say, considering there's a full 20 minutes. It's Artemi Panarin off the backhand, and they'll look to start this one right to left for the Blue Shirts. Because Zibanejad, Chris Kreider put this in around the kick plate. Benny Trocheck in around the inboards now, as this is not held in by Adam Fox. And again, I understand the 4 assists and no goals, but I really do think they're going to need some shots to the point for 23. Try to find some pay dirt. You got to find offense wherever you can get it. Adam Fox, Vinny Trocheck, and this is too easy. This one gets sent all the way back down the ice. Igor Shesterkin will slow it down. He's not been clean with some of those passes, but Sam Bennett couldn't forecheck everything. So now Adam Fox will send this back and around the inboards. Make a good backhanded pass, but it's too far for a laugh. As this is sent in around the kick plate, Keandre Miller from Jacob Trouba. 19 minutes, just 1 minute exhausted from the third, and we get an ice.
So the Panthers, one thing that sticks out here, they've only lost 3 times when they led after 2 periods. All 3 of those losses were in the regular season, all of them coming in overtime or in the shootout. They have not lost at any point here in the playoffs when leading after 2. They play a good job protecting the sweep, but up against a team that knows how to come back from behind like the Rangers, how will they be?
Philip Hedl, he can't win the draw. Kulikov wanted the 1T. Hedl, about 7 minutes, 5 seconds of ice time right now, just his second playoff game in this season. Coming back from a devastating injury, but it's good to see him back on the ice, part of the kid line, but Lafreniere's on line 2 now. But Trocheck has his centerman. Center on the inboards for Shesterkin. Keandre Miller for Trouba. Keandre's got it. Now to the left side, this will be flipped in. I wonder if the Rangers can find a way to get in the zone right now with sustainability. There's not been a lot of that. Here's a steal. Well, Cooley trying to make something happen. This is in behind the net now, off the backhand for Adam Fox. Making a play, falling down. VC will send it wide. Kulikov off the spin and turn. He can't get it out. OEL absorbs it. Tulis to Reinen. We'll make a back pass for OEL. We'll take a long saw split. Back in off of Adam Fox, who's already back out there. Left side dot for VC. VC now. He takes a pass instead, and Evan Rodriguez gets in around the contact as a couple teammates fall down on different respective sides. Lindgren for Barkov. That's a pretty good skate there for Ryan Lindgren as he gets a close-up. Back in behind the end boards, Lindgren now. Trying to make a sure pass. This will be slowly off the left side. Dot Redman will pinch it. Sisurkin will stop it. He's been very busy behind his goal crease as far as playing the puck. He's been doing that a lot. This is sending it around the end boards now. Here's a good finish of a hit. Reinhardt keeps it to his feet. Good setup there. This one is denied with the right pad from Tarasenko. Now between the right side dot. Panthers looking pretty good here as this goes in behind the end boards for Reinhardt. He gets all turned around. Now for Panarin, a watch. This bounces back to Fox. He is a definite Norris candidate as this one is sent back down the end boards. It'll be Panarin one more time. We'll take a long shot. This bounced up high, and Bobrovsky will find it and hold on.
That was a long turnaround shot for Panarin.
Yeah, and gentlemen, I think this is better from the Rangers to start. I like this opening of the third period here. And Bobrovsky, a little bit handcuffed right there. Probably like that one back to field it cleanly. Field it. It's baseball season too, I guess. Oops, but to handle it cleanly. Got to get my sports right. But, John, I'll let you jump back in here. It looks like I might be, again, a little bit ahead of you here. I think we have another stoppage upcoming.
So Panarin, we show that shot again. You guys are probably 15, 20 seconds ahead of me, so thank you for bearing with me. Again, I got no Sportsnet feed today. As this is sent around the end boards, I might have been able to help that, but this will be iced against the Rangers, so they will go back down for the draw here, and we'll see what we get. Shots are 19-13.
Panarin shake his head over at the benches. He knows that turnaround shot. He had a little bit of a good look there on the turnaround shot. 4 goals, all game-winning goals, mind you.
I guess that's a good omen for Panarin, as this is a offensive zone draw for the Blue Shirts. Sent it toward the net. This one stopped by Bobrovsky. And now Tkachuk will get on his horse. There's a loft back toward the right side blue line off the turn. Because Zibanejad will watch this one go around the end boards. And picked up by Tkachuk one more time. We'll send it back to defense. This is a bouncing puck turnaround chance. And Shesterkin made that look easy on Verhaeghe.
That was dangerous for Shesterkin. Going up against Verhaeghe on the turnaround on the bank pass from the right point. It was so open. How did he get that much separation away from the Ranger defense? Even Jack Roslovic, who was guarding him from close, he can't even figure that out. But Verhaeghe, he is that skilled of a forward.
And we got to see if this turns the tide a little bit here. I do think that the Rangers came out relatively strongly, but the Florida Panthers looking good right there. More of the same from them. The Rangers have to have sustained pressure here. They cannot rely on one-off shots and luck. They've got to put some real game together if they're going to push back against the Panthers here.
Yes, I do, Cooper. You said that beautifully. And again, that's what you want to see. Outshot by opponent in 8 straight games. Again, the Rangers maybe want to try to beat beautifully, as you said, between the power play side, but how many are the Panthers going to commit? You know they are known for some of these infractions, but I think Paul Maurice had told them, as far as all the game tape as well, what the Rangers are really good at. They know this. They're not going to take needless penalties, and as much as they like to punch other people in the face, probably not going to do that as much against the Blue Shirts because you don't want it to cost you, so I think that would make more sense. Sent back around the inboards. This is a completely different series than it was against the Boston Bruins. You have to know that. Mikko Mikkola able to get around the defense somehow, and now he'll skate this in across the left side red line, and the forwards for Paul Maurice's squad will take a change. Or Shesterkin actually played that between his legs to start this one off the breakout. Good reverse hit. And now Bobrovsky will take his time back in behind the cage. This one played Panarin trying to provide the forecheck. Blue Shirts will get this one to the right side point. Here's a wrister. This one bounces up in the air off of the Florida defense and able to send this one back down for Stanley. And so continue to move around in pursuit. Here's a good steal for the Panthers. Off the backhand, so Sturr going to have to cancel it out. Rebound, bounce up in the air. Kevin Stanley still giving pursuit. That fourth line has been able to give some problems here to the Rangers. Again, that also speaks for the entirety of the team, as we talked about in that second intermission. Now to the left side red line, VC will try to locate it. 14:55 left to go in the third. John here with you alongside Alec Nava and Cooper Hopkins. The trio is taking this game in. This is going to be an excellent series. And even if it ends up being 1-0, there's all sorts of intrigue for me where I'm thinking about maybe skipping Thursday and going right to Friday. I don't know how I feel about this next WCF, but I do want to cover more of this one. And that's maybe being selfish as well, but can't get enough of these two teams because I think it's going to be good. Lafreniere off the backhand. There's this one sent in for OEL. We'll try to get this the other way. Another hand grenade loft. This will go right back to the New York Ranger defense and started again with Vinny Trocheck. Go left to right, good touch pass, but a good stick in the lane. They tried to find Lafreniere. It was cut off. Lafreniere will have to send this one in deep. This bounces in off the embankment and sent all the way back down. The icing will be waved off immediately as Ryan Lindgren gets stuck in his own end, and the camera cut late. That was Verhaeghe almost stealing it right in front of the net. And now Bennett. I'll find the entry. Sweet skate. Bennett now. Rodriguez off the backhand and sticking the lane for Lindgren. It popped right out of his hands as he blocked it and went on a play.
Oof. Tough break for Lindgren as he took that block right up high, but that was a big misplay by Shesterkin in his own crease, who just basically gave almost a freebie for Carter Verhaeghe, who was waiting right in front like a hungry shark.
Yeah, a bit of a mess there for sure. And I actually I think I'm putting a little bit on Lindgren's shoulders as well. It looked like he was trying to clear. He had his head kind of on a swivel there. Verhaeghe behind him. I think trying to find the right outlet may have used a little too much time. Probably miscommunication between the defender and his goaltender right there. So maybe a little 50-50 blame either way. That's not what you want to see from the Rangers, who are just trying to get in this thing. And again, guys, I have to point it out again. I know we've said it multiple times. But boy, oh boy, are the Blue Shirts lucky that they're only down one. It sure feels like it should be 3-0 right now.
Again, we got to punch this button because I agree with both of you. Giveaways now 12-2. There is no way that's sustainable for the rest of this series for the Rangers, is it? If the Panthers can continue to force this, I'm not going to say it's going to be a short series, but they're definitely going to have the advantage, and maybe they could win low-scoring games like it is right now, 1-0 with 13:47 left.
Yeah, it's been so many giveaways by the Rangers, and a good job by the Panthers to get right at these loose pucks, winning these battles along through the boards to take it away from the Rangers. Make the quick decisions, and they're executing on all fronts.
Yeah, and you know what, John and Alec, I know you both agree to that. You can't in the Stanley Cup playoffs be giving away games at home. These are the ones where, maybe if you get a split, you're a little disappointed, but at least you got one. Boy, oh boy, the way they're playing right now, guys, I would be hard pressed to say that the Rangers are going to get either games here at MSG.
That says a lot, Cooper. I'm not going to hold you to it, but I don't disagree with you either, the way that this is going on. They're showing all the star power at MSG. They're going to need somebody to align. I know you had the Captain Planet reference not too long ago from all the years past. Maybe they're going to need all these powers to combine to get them a goal, because this is looking a little dicey here as far as their offense.
Yeah, and whenever there's a game at MSG, there's always a celebrity watch, such as the case with Matthew Broderick, Michael J. Fox, Julius Randle, and hey, even King Henrik is here.
13:35 left to go in the third. Cross pass, and that was a good one-timer from left to right. Was that the first even strength one-timer that we've seen all game? Honestly, that could be. As this is sent in around the end boards, that was one of the better chances for the Rangers, but easily stopped by Bobrovsky. I'm not going to say it's been a construction barrel back there, but he hasn't been that tested. And Florida's defense has been excellent. 21-14 on the shot board here for Florida. That 1-0 courtesy of Matthew Tkachuk. Sent around the end boards now. And this will be an opportunity one more time. Roslovic with a quick steal. Honestly, possession feels 70-30 at this point to me, and this is just off the top of my head. That has got to change as this is sent in behind the end boards off a long outstretched stick. This is with the Rangers. They keep it around the end boards. Mika Zibanejad can be a game breaker. This is a good play. And behind the left side board somehow, the Panthers get to it. And now Reinhardt able to get through a few Rangers as this one is gloved down by Mika Zibanejad, bounced up in the air, knuckle puck, and settled back down by Barkov. It's Reinhardt, not Alexander, but he can't keep it in as this one goes all the way back down the ice. And they'll blow it dead against the blue shirts. So my oh my, they can't change, and they probably got some tired bodies out there.
I initially thought this was going off a Panther on the way down for the ice. Guess it was wrong.
Yeah, and I'm seeing on my ESPN side some highlights here. Bobrovsky has been a big difference maker. I mean, we keep talking about the Rangers like they're not in this thing, but Bob has had to make some very difficult saves, including one recently. So even though the Rangers are down on the shot board, they are getting quality. It's just, it's so infrequent, guys. They've got to pick it up, especially as time becomes an issue here.
Yes, it is. And again, Al, if we get one more stoppage, I'll throw it back to you, maybe even closer when we get a little bit of a break. So again, we don't jump on each other as far as the play, but another icing here, 21-14 on the shot board. Again, we're looking at the deflection, and that one was the one that kissed Ryan Lindgren off the vulcanized rubber off the backhand. That one does not feel good. When does Ryan Lindgren not get hit by a puck? It's kind of like Chris Tanev in a different color. Oh, and he's cut up all across that nose now. You can see it.
Oh, yeah, that's visible. When you speak of one-timers, 78 one-timer goals for the Rangers this season. That ranks 5th in the entire league.
It looked like Ryan Lindgren stuck his face into a fireplace as this is sitting around the inboards now for Miller. I'll try to get this one back out. Florida still on the forecheck. It was kept in for Verhaeghe and now recollected for Keandre. This will be put back in. And now the changes will be made for Peter Laviolette's squad and the same for Paul Maurice. 11:35 left to go in this third, and time is starting to run out for the Rangers as far as pressing forward. And this does not look like another game that is going to have a power play pop up on the board right now. This is just 5-on-5 play, and it's only 1-0, but it feels like it's being dominated by one team. As this is off the forehand, picked up now, right side down. Oh, a snipe and a score! They might call for goaltender interference, but I think OEL put it in the net.
We'll have to see if there's a closer look. Oliver Ekman-Larsson seems to have scored this goal. We need to see if there's goaltender interference. We need a replay of it. So far, they're showing the goal on the ESPN side-by-side, but it's much like that first goal. Left circle, at the top of it. But unlike that, it's Ryan Lomberg. Does he interfere with Shesterkin, or does Lindgren shove him towards Shesterkin? That's the question.
Boy, really interesting situation here. Lomberg enters the crease on his own. He's not forced into the crease. He overskates, has to put on the brakes. Now Lindgren, again, involved in a situation right in front of Shesterkin. Lindgren gives I would say just a standard little body check right here with the, now hang on, I'm going to pause here. I know I'm ahead of you guys. Okay, I thought we were going to get a call there. That is a challenge by the Rangers. So we are going to get a challenge from the Rangers coaching staff, and the black and white stripes will take a look at it. But yeah, gentlemen, I'm seeing Lomberg entering the crease under his own power, and then Lindgren putting a check on. I think Lomberg is amused to think that this should be reviewed at all. But this will be very interesting. Alec and or John, I know you're getting replays now too. Are you seeing Shesterkin maybe extend that left leg unnecessarily to try to draw contact here?
Go ahead, Alec.
So, from one angle, it does look like Lomberg enters this crease on his own, and that argument is valid. He does enter on his own, and it looks like there was contact between him and the left pad. I just feel like Shesterkin is trying to get back onto the left side of the ice to prevent the shot from Ekman-Larsson getting all the way for the net, and I think Lomberg being there obstructs the way for Shesterkin. Lindgren pushing Lomberg into Shesterkin. I feel that may be canceled out by the fact that Lomberg was the first to enter into the crease and blocked out Shesterkin's path.
I don't disagree with any of your points here, gentlemen, on this. I do want to mention, though, even though it's a standard shove for Lindgren, anytime you push that into your own goaltender, that's what's going to have these be a little bit long. I think Ryan Lumberg, honestly, even though he went in his own admission, I think he's doing his job here. He's just trying to get in the way. And there was a little kick out to me. We'll see what the call is. So what are we going to get here? This looks like we're going to get a no goal according to the Rangers' reaction. So we'll reset this thing back to 1. And Lomberg has this goal taken away.
Wow, very controversial there. I do agree with the outcome. I do think Lomberg entered the crease with too much speed. He got into Shesterkin before he was checked by Lindgren. But boy, Lindgren's had a rough third period here.
Yes.
He's been involved in a couple of shaky plays, and that is putting it lightly.
I mean, it was 50-50 there. Judgment call.
Yes, it was. This will immediately go the other way now near the right side dot. Florida, I don't think they're going to be any bother here as far as the goal that's taken away because they're already up by 1. 10:50 left to go in this third. And it looks like this puck, and I'm going to stop it here. Alec, I'm just going to throw it to you. You take it the rest of the way. It's still 1-0 Panthers.
Well, I know you're jumping it right to me, but so they're calling it offside. Well, do you know something awkward about this? The players didn't even hear the whistles when the play was called dead.
No, it was loud. They're still excited after the goal that was called back.
That's how loud MSG can be.
All right, gentlemen, we're looking at about halfway point here in the third. And Alec, you're jumping on this play-by-play. I'm looking forward to hearing it. And boy, the interesting thing here is the fans of the Rangers, the most excited they've been is about a goal that actually doesn't exist. They need some goals that do exist.
It's just funny how that happens. The Panthers, they have 2 goals allowed or fewer in the last 5 games. If this result holds up, they'll be the same case. Panthers trying to clear from their zone. They'll take it up at center ice. One Ranger falls down near Sam Reinhart, entering the Rangers zone. Top of the left circle, Shesterkin said no to Sasha Barkov. From the same place, Matthew Tkachuk scored. 10:22 goes.
I'm just wondering, I know it's only 1 game, and this should be a long series, but even chances off the rush, you're giving them to Barkov, guys like Tkachuk who are already scored, and I'm looking the other way. Yeah, the Rangers had a couple stick breaks, but I'm not seeing those same chances for them. You got to wonder what's going on in Shesterkin's head. He can only save what he can see, and he'd play going the other way.
Yeah, no question about it. As soon as we jump back into this thing, it's more of the same from the Panthers. They get a clear scoring chance from one of the face-off circles, and now, I know, again, I'm a little bit ahead, but this is not something huge I'm giving away. We're going to have another stoppage. I just don't think it bodes well for the Rangers if they can't get some game flow. They need to get this thing moving, get some unbroken play here, and be able to put the puck on net when they're set up in the O-zone. Just classic offensive hockey. That's what they're missing.
Especially since they have 25 shots or fewer in 7 of the 10 games that they played so far in the postseason, including one of the games that I covered, Game 3 against the Canes, where Artemi Panarin had an overtime winner. Here he is! And that went wide of goal for the far side. Verhaeghe looks to clear, can't do it right now. It's a tie-up over at center ice, from the Ranger logo sent out in front for Trocheck and then back for Lafreniere. Lafreniere over to the far corner. Kulikov rushing after it. Lafreniere got there first. Kicked out to the right point. From Fox to Lindgren. Lindgren sends one that was deflected slowly. Trocheck tied up, and Rangers fans want the holding the stick penalty against the Panthers. Fox keeps it. Around back this goes over to Zibanejad. Zibanejad can't get there. He's shoved towards the wall by OEL as Kulikov picks it up. No arm up in the air. Now we have a stoppage here in 9:32. Looks like there's going to be a penalty coming up here.
Oh boy, that's as clear as day, right in front of Kulikov and Laugh. Can't do that. That's right in front of the referee as they get a little bit of a hook.
Yeah, this is a big turning point. This is the moment where the Rangers will either basically have to let this game go, and the Panthers will put it away, or the Rangers could galvanize around this thing and really turn it around. But they're going to have to kill a penalty first, and there's got to be a bad taste in their mouth. I don't think it was a penalty that should have been called, but it was that one that at least deserved a second look. Could have been a holding the stick that would have given the Rangers yet another man advantage. That falls by the wayside, and just seconds later, the Rangers will now be down when we come back from the media break, the timeout here. Yeah, gentlemen, it just doesn't seem like the New York Rangers are able to fire on all cylinders here, and it continues to be credit to the Panthers who are keeping the pressure on.
Yep. So you mentioned about the holding a stick penalty that was not called. This could have easily been a Ranger power play. And I get the fans' frustration because that penalty went uncalled. Now the Rangers have to be killing off a penalty. But if signs are any indication that New York, they have killed off the 2 previous penalties, and they've been doing well shorthanded. If signs are any indication, maybe if the way that it can score the next goal, I may get this out there, and this could be rather up for debate. Could this next goal possibly be a shorthanded Rangers goal?
Are you calling it, Alec?
You know, I'm going to call it now. Chris Kreider from Mika Zibanejad.
Wow, we're getting Alec doing his best John Ott impression. This is good stuff. This is good stuff for our listeners here, boys. I'm not going to go out on a limb. I'll play Switzerland on this one, but I like it. You know what, Alec? Hopefully, some of your mindset makes its way to MSG because the Rangers just have to be bold here. I'm not saying they have to go for broke and score the shorty right now, but you got to kill this penalty, and if you do that, you only have 7.5 minutes in the game. You got to make a push, and it's got to happen soon.
I like it, Alec. I don't know if it's going to come into existence, but I do like the names that you mentioned. That's where I would lean to as well. Again, as you guys said, kill this one, make a press. You got to find something. I mean, at worst, you're only down 0-1. You need to save face and find some offense. Let's go.
All right, here we go. So power play time starts now. It is Kreider and Zibanejad on the ice. Tkachuk held it in at the right point. Reinhart twists and turn, goes back for Tkachuk. Long shot. Made his way past Shesterkin, not in the goal. Cleared out by the Rangers. That's 15 seconds gone. 4 power play goals allowed, but they have scored 4 shorthanded goals. As I mentioned, they want to make that 5. And I picked Kreider from Zibanejad on that part. Tkachuk for Verhaeghe. This one sent behind the net. Montour tied up. Verhaeghe trying to send it back. Reinhart helps him out. Left points Tkachuk. Right back this goes. Past Reinhart and back for Tkachuk. Tkachuk is down low. On for Verhaeghe. Back at the points, Reinhart. Right point, Montour. Opposite point, Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe's long shot. Bounced off of Shesterkin and cleared out. That's 50 seconds gone for the Rangers. They still need the tying goal, but so far so good on the PK. Montour sets up behind. Reinhart moves over to the right side. Leading the rush on the power play. Entry feed to himself off the boards. Now bank pass over to Barkov at the far corner. Montour sets up Kentucky back. Montour long blast. That reaches Shesterkin. 50 seconds to go on the power play on an 82-mile-an-hour bomb.
That was a good setup. That was quick. Shesterkin had to go from right to left. Traffic out in front. Good save there for Igor.
Shesterkin has done everything he has needed to do tonight. It's been very impressive to watch, and that's what we've come to expect from the goaltender for the New York Rangers. And listen, that can't be all this is, right? And it's a great story, but it's not going to win you a series. We got to see some offense here. We're still waiting.
Yeah, just remember, this series may feel like a marathon, not a sprint. This is not a track and field match. I know ESPN Plus is streaming the first round of the western portion of the NCAA Track and Field Championships as this puck goes out of play. But do remember, this feels like a grueling series.
That's what all signs point to. That is what we all want. We want to see this go 7 games. I'm just very interested to see how Florida's continuing to put that vice grip on, but can they hold it with 8:17 left?
Off the face-off, this is Trocheck. This is sent backwards from Fox and cleared down. It's Trocheck's second unit who's out there on the ice on the shorthanded portion. Most of the shorthanded goals have come from Kreider and Zibanejad. Here's Tanner Seiko, center in front for Rodriguez, then get to him. Lundell around for Bennett. Bennett sets up right circle for Ekman Larson. Ekman Larson's shot. That's gobbled up. The loose puck falls down onto the Ranger zone. 20 seconds to go on the Panther power play. Ekman Larson, deep pass. Not there. So be first touched up by Ryan Lindgren, who's behind Shesterkin. And a long clear out. And a race for this puck. Won by Forsling. Wenberg watching. And that will end the power play. So no shorthanded goals. I'm still, the next goal is on here is Stanley. He is leveled. Holy moly, what a hit. Here comes Lafreniere for the far side on the drop pass. Now the shot covered up by Bobrovsky. The rebound loose in front. Now behind it. Bobrovsky lost his stick. The Panthers tried to clear. Cousins pickpocketed. Kuba up a lane. Courageous block. Rebound. Another save by Bobrovsky. As all sorts of chaos ensued. At the Panthers zone, the Panthers clear. The best opportunities for the Rangers in this game. Unironically, the Panthers get this one out. Here's Ryer leading the way for the far side. Enter the zone. Offside, they say, or not. There's a loose helmet on the ice in the commotion. The crowd here is so loud that you can't even hear the whistles that they had to blow several times.
You take it away, Cooper.
Boy, John, thank you. I am just trying to collect myself here because so much has happened in the last 30 seconds or so. The Rangers killing that penalty, and then Bobrovsky having to make arguably his best saves of the night when he's already made some gems. But man, oh man, he was down and out on one of those rebound attempts. I think he dove across and may have saved a shot with the blocker as he was diving left to right. Extremely impressive. It could be tied here. The Rangers came out of nowhere after killing that penalty, and that apparently gave them life. So, Alec, they got everything except the shorty you predicted here, but maybe they will get one on the special teams because it's going to be a Rangers power play yet again, 2 minutes on the clock with 6:48 or so on the game clock. Really interesting turn here. Can the Rangers capitalize?
Yeah, before you jump into it, Al, you got the momentum swing, you got the energy now. As Cooper mentioned, that last one even went off the post after Bobrovsky was down and out. This is time. Capitalize on it.
There's a power play here because of too many men on the ice. Evan Rodriguez is going to serve to 2 minutes in the box. They have only one other power play here to speak of here in this game. They didn't convert there, but in the playoffs, they have the third best power play unit, converting at a 31.4% clip. Panarin over to Zibanejad, sets up Kreider right up front. No shooting lane there, but here's Trocheck. His shot up high and wide. Zibanejad on the hold. Back for Fox. Zibanejad. Panarin across. Panarin around the net. Here's Kreider right behind it. Trocheck now. Back for Panarin. Panarin looks to Fox. He'll hold. Now here's Zibanejad. Boxed out. Fox. Open lane for Trocheck. Trocheck fires one. Bobrovsky kept it out. And it goes over behind the net. Panarin has it. Tied up. And cleared out. 112 on the man advantage. Shesterkin can't play it because that was going towards the trapezoid. 106. And we have a little shove by Mikkola on Trocheck. Former teammates, considering that Mikkola was a one-time Ranger last year. This puck reaches Bobrovsky, who looks to clear. This got to Mikkola, who's tied up at the far side of the boards. Trocheck, Panarin on there. Lostereen and pinned towards the wall. Stanley and Mikkola trying to get at it at no man's land. 45 on the power play. Movement from the puck. It's pried free by Zibanejad, who holds it. Now back to the point. Here's Fox, who sets up Panarin. Back for Fox. One-timer. Kicked out by Bobrovsky. Karen Bank. Fox kept it in. Here's Kreider. Fox pinned along for the wall. The loose puck out in front. One Ranger comes tumbling down. Fox holds it at the near corner. Back to the point. Here's Zibanejad. On across for Panarin. Back for Zibanejad. Long drive was blocked. Fox on the hole right around. Mikkola blocked the passing lane. Kulikov looks to clear. Bouncing puck just held in by Zibanejad. Fox ticked up high. Some Rangers fans want a penalty. We'll stay 5-on-4 now. Zibanejad sets it forward. The Panthers get it out. No penalty on this one. And here comes Lostereen. Fakes the drive. Now over the left circle. Shoots one. Deflected. Shesterkin shuts the 5-0 down. 4:42 to go. And then we have from fisticuffs. A brouhaha here.
Shesterkin throwing an uppercut. I love it.
Shesterkin comes with the haymaker with the blocker, gentlemen. He is not having it. Does not want his crease to be stepped into. He is going to hold his ground. My goodness, did he take a cut right there. And, boy, that's what the Rangers have done. Listen, I'm not saying the solution is just to get crazy physical. You got to keep your game in mind. You got to get that skill moving if you're going to win in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But sometimes it takes that physicality. And, boy, oh, boy, Shesterkin's done everything. Now he's throwing shots. So he's just saying to his boys in front of him, look, I'll do as much as I can, and I'll even throw a right hook if I have to.
Incredible stuff. This is a hell of a game, boys, and I'm glad that we're doing this one. I thought that Adam Fox got hit up in the face with the stick. When we got the break before we went to commercial, actually, as the puck came up and hit him in the face, he was getting attended to near the players' bench.
So that's the reason why there was no penalty called. I feel it was a good non-call by the officials because that was the puck hitting him up in the face and not the stick of the Panther who was right by him. Well, we don't have overtime yet, but the Rangers have pulled out miracles before, such as when they became the first team to come from behind in 2 3-1 series deficits back-to-back in consecutive postseasons, 2014 second round, 2015 second round.
And I want to say this, regardless of whether or not this scoreline holds and the Panthers get this one, Sergei Bobrovsky, every single match with Igor Shesterkin in this game, brilliant goaltending on both sides. This game has been fun.
For sure it has.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And at least we've seen some life here from the Rangers in multiple ways, right? We've seen some good special teams, nice, solid, sound choices being made while you're killing a penalty. Then use that momentum slingshot forward, get some of their best shots of the game. Haven't put one behind an excellent goaltender yet, but it feels like they're closer than they ever have. Will there be enough time, or will this thing be in the Panthers' favor? Boy, we're going to find out real soon here, guys.
Yeah, we are. It's a good mix of New York and Florida fans here, Alec. You take it away.
We speak of a critic here in this first game between the Rangers and Panthers. There is another critic going on right now. It's the Dallas Mavericks who lead 98-94 in the middle of the fourth quarter in Game 1 of that Western Conference quarterfinal series. Forsling fakes the drive off the face-off. There's a bump and run on Reinhart. Barkov got it back for the Panthers. He can't advance it further. Tarasenko got poked away of this puck. It's out to center. Panthers recollect. Forsling sends this in. 4:25 to go as Shesterkin plays on his backhand over to Trouba. Time running out here for the Rangers if they were to score the tying goal. Sent in from Miller. Fan on the sent in from the Rangers, and this goes back out to center. Miller will try this one again. He'll hold. He'll defer it over to the near side. This goes to the far corner. Forsling gets this forward. And out this one goes. Bouncing puck just held in by Miller. And this one corralled down by Forsling. He can't get it out. Rozovic tied up. The Panthers have it. A chase for this puck. Will they ice it? No. Shesterkin way out of the net. Verhaeghe dares. Shesterkin got back on time. Waiting. Oh, it's an own goal! Lafreniere poked it in his own net. Brutal break for the Rangers.
A disaster. A disaster. There's no other word for it. Shesterkin only beaten once, and that was through traffic by the best player on his opponent's roster. And then he is beaten by his own teammate, 5-hole. I cannot believe what we just saw.
Gentlemen, I don't even know what to say with that. At first, I would say Shesterkin, you'd like to get a better clear. Lafreniere, this goes right to the wickets. That just makes you sick to your stomach. They're battling to try to tie this one, and that might be the straw that breaks the back in Game 1.
Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, no, and Alec, I don't mean to step on you here. I just want to say one last thing. First of all, you got to pick your teammate up there. Of course, no intent whatsoever, just trying to clear the high slot there, but couldn't have been worse timing. So hopefully he'll be supported by his fellow Rangers. But my goodness, this has to be one of the most, assuming that the Florida Panthers close this out, has to be one of the most bitter ways for a game that took you the majority of 3 periods to battle back into, and then you deflate your own balloon. That is a really difficult way to take an L in Game 1, especially at home. I'm not even a Rangers fan, and I feel it. There's a pit in my stomach right now.
So I had to walk away from this game after the first goal was scored because I had to run some errands. If you coming back and seeing the score was still 1-0 Florida was nowhere near my bingo card. I mean, really, Rangers? After everything we've seen, you can't even bother to score a goal? Really?
The only goal that they've scored was an own goal.
I mean, good Lord, this is, it's not the same circumstances, but this has the same feeling as Toronto laying an egg against Columbus a few years ago and losing, ironically, 2-0 to them in an elimination game. All this talent and you can't even score a goal? Now I know we have over 3 minutes left, but come on.
I mean, you gotta show some fight here. I mean, so we're out the rest of the way, so the Rangers have it. The net is empty. Here's Fox on the long shot. Lafreniere on the keep. You gotta feel for this kid. He's just trying to sweep it away from the Panthers in an attempt to get this one out and away from Shesterkin. Unfortunately, he puts in his own net. Fox's one-timer was over to the near corner. Just feels like the life has been sucked out of this MSG crowd after that own goal by Lafreniere. Up and around this goes. Ekblad bombed onto behind the boards, and this one out in front. Lafreniere bouncing puck. Panarin turned around by Verhaeghe on the hold, right behind, far corner. Still whacking at it. Pokes at it, still not out. Now it is. Here's a Zibanejad one-timer, loose in front. Kreider stepped it over, and Bobrovsky still shutting things down. Still holding his zone at the left side. Covers it up, 2:36.
Well, Bobrovsky, yet again, ladies and gentlemen, that was set up from Redmond. What a beautiful spinning save, as that was among the boards, and Zibanejad lets a rocket go. What a stop.
Yeah, no question. Against a lesser goaltender, we could have a tie game here. So This is just wild stuff. Timeout called. It's necessary. We'll see what comes of it. I respect the Rangers for still fighting here, but boy, we're getting shots of Ranger fans with their heads in their hands. Rightfully so. Just unreal.
It's terrible right now. And it's amazing watching Sergei Bobrovsky do this. I know he's been doing this for a couple years now, but let us not forget that when Florida first signed into that contract, his first year when they were in the playoffs was a disaster. His first year in Florida was painful to watch. He couldn't stop a nosebleed from happening. And now year after year we get what he was in Columbus.
Yeah, it's a far cry. It's not a discount as far as the numbers, but he has cemented himself, and he's continued on that play from last year. And they look like they're about to take this game one. Alec, you take it away.
So as we get Sasha Barkov and Mika Zibanejad on the draw, two of the best face-off men around, it's the Rangers on the keep. They had it poke loose all the way down to the end of the red line. And it will be retrieved by Fox, who will look to send this one up to avoid the 3-0 camel. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Pass too far for Lafreniere, but it reaches Kreider. Kreider entry. Bobrovsky slowed down behind the net. Over to Kulikov. Kulikov pinned towards the wall. This one too high for Zibanejad. Not be-icing. Onto Fox with 2:05 to go here in regulation. Do the Rangers have something here to get something onto game 2 or possibly steal game 1? Long clear for the Panthers. Bounced off the boards. Race for this puck. Picked up by Tkachuk. No Bennett. Fox there to leave it for Lafreniere. Lundell got in the way. And that empty netter with the deflected away, that was stopped by Fox. Second attempt wide over to the far corner. Tkachuk around. Nothing was there for the Panthers. The Rangers are protecting their own end. Panarin around Bennett. Bennett tried to swipe it away. Pass too far. Carried in by Lafreniere. Zibanejad around through the far end of the boards. Tkachuk is there at the opposite side. Picked up by Bennett. He slowed down. Bennett onto the empty net. Bullseye. And the Panthers will take game 1 here at Madison Square Garden.
Well, Cooper, I'll throw it to you. Matthew Tkachuk and now Sam Bennett ices it.
Yes, indeed. And Alec, you weren't just using a turn of phrase. That was from about center ice, and Sam Bennett hit the center of the cage right there, and that will make it 3-0. And I think the outcome that we all expected, perhaps not the way that it came to pass, but wow, it's going to be a shutout victory, I would presume, here with 1:07 to go left in this contest. And yep, you got two former Flames, Tkachuk and Bennett, who are huge contributors, needless to say, for this Panthers team. I would expect to see them continue to do damage as we get further into this series. And boy, we are going to have to take a look at the mental state of the Rangers here. They were coming back. They had their most life, guys. And then it falls apart via an own goal. Lots to talk about. And it's got to feel like shaky ground for the Blue Shirts and their fans.
I mean, yesterday, Alec, myself, and another Twitter user named Redbox, we were all in it. We were all filming something for Alec's YouTube channel, and I said that this series would go 6 or 7 games. There's no way this series doesn't go 6 or 7 games. I'll tell you what, the New York Rangers had better get on the ball, had better get on the puck, or this series ends in 4 or 5, with Florida coming out on top. Because, you know, if this game was any indication of what the Rangers are going to put out on the ice every night, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, you're completely right on that. If this continues to happen, it's going to get ugly for them, and fast. The Panthers, they've been the more physical team, the more dominant team. They've forced the Rangers to get into these mental mistakes time and time again, and it's led them to a well-earned shutout victory.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'll let you close it out, Alec, and then I'll lead with the post-game thoughts.
So now with this and Wenberg ran along through the blue line, another former Panther, Kevin Stanley's shot kicked out by Shesterkin, and the Rangers, they're just going to let this one run out. Maybe one last entry, just as Cato gets decked down by Mikkola. A shutout performance for Big Bob on his bobberies. A Game 1 victory, 3-0 for the Panthers.
I'm going to tell you this. Ian, I'm not going to jump on board with you just yet as far as a 4 or 5 game series. I'm going to wait another game. I'm going to take the approach of, the New York Rangers, they got bottled up a little bit because the Florida Panthers absolutely showcased you what they could do. And by the way, they showcased you what they could do because they're more healthy bodies than they did last year, heading into that series when they were pretty much devastated against the Boston Bruins, but still got to a Stanley Cup final. I use the term revenge tour a little bit for the Avalanche. Well, we know that's already the case for the Florida Panthers. They're hungry. They want this. That was a perfect road game that they played at MSG. I want to see on Friday if they can replicate even half of that. They're going to feel really good on Friday night.
Yeah. One quick thought is all I have to say is that's exactly what you want when you're the road team, especially when you're nearing the Stanley Cup final. And the Panthers not only send the Rangers fans home early, you send them up the stairs and to the exits, but you know what power you must feel if you're a Florida Panther. You know not only did they leave early, they left those expensive seats early, but they left feeling about as sick as you can. You broke down your opponent in such a way that they scored on themselves. You take one on the road. You got to feel supremely confident going into Game 2 after getting day off, and let alone taking it back to your home rink. It seems like, look, we don't want to jump way too far ahead, but Ian, I agree with you. I thought your assessment was right. 6 or 7 games here, a nice even series. After tonight, even if we're trying to be fair and be balanced, how can you say this thing goes more than 5? It's just a wild turn here, and it's all Panthers.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I said, I'm not ready to do it yet, but that was a demolishing. But I think it also showcases to me just how good the Florida Panthers can be and how maybe I undersold their defense a little bit. That was suffocation. That was a Paul Maurice masterclass. I can't wait for Friday because honestly, even if this series goes this way, I think I got more intrigue watching that game than I do of anything in tomorrow's side. That's just how I feel.
I like your honesty about it. Heading into tomorrow's side between the Stars and the Oilers, I feel the more intrigue is with this series. That how will the Rangers respond in Game 2 to that defensive suffocation by the Panthers? It feels like it's a masterclass of a defensive effort by the Panthers. The Rangers, they need to get back on the drawing board and quick.
We'll see if they can do so. You gentlemen have a good night. I'll be in contact with Cooper and Alec on this side as far as what we're going to do, because I think I'm going to hit one more of these before we get into the next part of the week, because I do want to get some calls here in this series. And honestly, I think I'm right with Cooper on this end. I think both of us want to see the Panthers get to the Stanley Cup final, because I want to see what they can do. If they can play games like this, I'm just going to be honest with you. If they can play games like this, I don't think they're worried about playing Dallas either, because this was a win. This was a win that feels like a Stanley Cup Finals type of win. This was a dominating game, and they showed a master class of 60 minutes of what you can do, and that's what you want to see.
No question about it. Thanks, guys, for letting me jump in. Always fun being on with you, and yeah, I'm looking forward to more of this. Maybe we do sneak into Dallas, Edmonton. Just my West Coast bias speaking, but boy, as we said, after tonight, so many storylines. Can the Rangers collect themselves? Will the Panthers step even further on the neck of the blue shirts? It's going to be lots to talk about. Looking forward to doing this again.
We'll see you guys.
See you around.